Yeah,
you know,
chilling on the
Fortnite
video
nerds.
games.
I mean, chilling, like playing video games.
That's the
fucking
way to
gaming.
say it, yes?
You think an old man would say chilling on the video game?
That's what you just said, yes.
You think an old man would say chilling?
On the video game?
On the video games?
Well, oh well.
You're an old man.
If you want,
Well,
I'm not a gamer.
You're getting older.
I mean, I guess I am.
Mikey.
Hello. Good evening. Welcome back to Mik'd Up. Today is Monday, December 19th. I have to look on my phone because I have a different computer because my computer is dead. So thank you to our wonderful producer Lloyd who
Came all over the computer.
gave me the computer. That's not what I was going to say. We're brought to you by Sterling Automotive. I hope everybody had a wonderful, great weekend. I know you did, Jay Mitch. You were in Dallas. You had a very good time. I had a very long, hectic I think I hit every city in South Louisiana from Friday to Sunday, but I'm here. I made it through. I'm well rested. Lloyd, I hope you had a good weekend. It seems like I don't think you use the
going on
weekends
without
for
the
rest.
boss man. A lot going on without old Jordy, who's on his vacation.
He is on his vacation. He's gonna be gone for a little minute this week, next week, and the week after.
Yes, if this is the way it continues, I might die.
Well,
it could happen.
welcome to the work. Welcome to the workforce, Lloyd.
Lloyd. Let's go. You gotta keep going. There's nothing wrong with
but
I don't think there's any doubt about the effort. It's just that I gotta figure the schedule out.
well, that's on you
I know.
to figure that out.
I'm not ready.
Everybody
Not
works harder than they get paid. They work more. Everybody, for the most part, works more than they get paid for, and
Unless you play
that's
baseball
part of it.
and get,
I mean,
just
yeah,
give
but
me
there's not
that.
very
I
many-
want that Albert Pujols contract.
There's not very many people. Well, he played. There's not very many
Pretty sure
people.
you earned
who,
every dollar of that thing.
Yeah.
Well, steroids.
Well,
That's a different conversation. It doesn't have anything to do with that.
nobody knows if that's true, but
We're
we
talking about the numbers.
Yeah, we got a great show for you. We're gonna go down the Heineken headlines. Obviously, Jack Besh announced that he is transferring to TCU. I think there's a bunch of, that's everybody where everybody assumed he was going to go. There's a lot of chatter about that. He comes out and says it, and so that's where he's going to go. I think that's a good fit for him. I feel like that offense is going to be. They need as many receivers as they can get. They got him. They have a kid from Alabama. They have another transfer that's coming in. So it seems like they're reloading their receivers room. Jack Besh seems like he's going to be one of the leaders in the clubhouse there, so to say. Staying with the recruiting. This is a big week for recruiting. Wednesday is the first day of signing day. Early signing period, I think, is what, 3 day? It's a 3-day thing, Lloyd? Mm-hmm. So Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then it cuts off until February, whatever date it is for the signing day. 5-star cornerback Desmond Ricks is on a visit here in Baton Rouge. I think the chatter around him is that seems like he is leaning towards LSU. It seems that there's a lot of people that are going to be here that the coaches already know are going to be here. Hence the reason why everybody's starting to kind of scatter from the team here that probably isn't going to be here moving forward. B.J. Ojulari announced for the draft and announced he is not going to play in the Citrus Bowl. He wore number 18. He was very well deserved to wearing number 18. He had an unbelievable career, and he's going to have an unbelievable NFL career. Wish you could see him play for one more game. Can't do it. But, we have a lot of Brian Kelly quotes. The bowl game is starting to get closer. We're going to have some conversations about that. This next guy I want to talk about is transfers in. Former five-star wide receiver transfer from Alabama to LSU. He is from Louisiana. He is a guy that Lloyd came out and was very upset about going to Alabama and said he was a must-have from Louisiana and that it was going to be one of the be one of the biggest misses in the state. I'm glad he's come back at LSU, and I'm glad he's here, back home, and left Alabama. But my argument to him was, you just never know. Let's be patient.
It's not fair how often you've been right on all of these things.
It's just never know.
Not the way that sports usually go, but I'm happy that.
But it is more so than you think.
Wait, what's not the way that sports usually go?
The optimism usually rarely pays off in terms.
I don't really think it's that much optimism.
Yeah.
I think it's just more of a, hey, let this thing pan out.
Maybe.
And if he
Not
went
let's
there
be
and
so
balled out, great.
Not let's
but-
be so knee jerk at the beginning when it happens. Let this thing pan out.
Hey,
and see how it
listen,
goes.
there's a lot of really talented players, and there's a lot of really talented players that come to LSU. There's a lot of talented players that leave LSU. But at the end of the day, they're 17, 18-year-old kids. And they may turn out to be the Patrick Petersons and the Joe Burrows and all of these high-level guys that come through, Jamar Chases. But they also may end up being guys who don't pan out or perform. My whole point is, it'd be nice to get the highly rated guys. You just never know what a 17, 18-year-old kid is going to look like and do when he gets to college around other guys who are also elite talents. I'm glad Aaron Anderson is back at LSU because he is an elite talent. He fills a bunch of needs that we have. He's an explosive playmaker. He's a great punt and kick returner that we haven't had in a long time. So it's nice to have him back. LSU baseball is starting to get a little bit of attention, I think. A little bit, finally, starting. Just joking. They always get attention. They're on pace to have the number 1 recruiting class in the country. They just got the number 2 player in the 2024 class to commit to LSU. He sent out a nice little video. It was very well done. This kid is a monster. He's 6'4". He's actually should be a sophomore, but he reclassified to be a junior. So he technically missed his sophomore year in college. High school. He is going to be on the show at 7:30 via video call. We're going to talk to him about his commitment. Talk to him about what he likes. Talk to him why he picked LSU, and go from there. Listen, he's extremely talented. It doesn't seem like he's going to step foot on campus,
but weird things have happened.
But you never know. It's going to be nice to talk to him. LSU landed 4 preseason All-Americans on the All-American teams, 3 in first team, 1 on the second team. Safe to say they're pretty talented. Bro, your computer's wild. I don't know what's going on with this thing.
Did it turn the screen off already?
No, didn't turn the screen off.
It's one of those like gaming computers, and I'm not a gamer.
I'm not a gamer either.
Chilling on the video games.
Obviously, I'm not a gamer.
Yeah, it took a while for me. I was a MacBook guy.
That's what I am.
And then they gave me that one because we had to have we did the show, talking about Colada show from that for probably almost a year. Which is
computer.
It was just, we don't know what we're doing. But we were able to make it happen with that thing, and we got a big boy. We got 2 big boys.
We got 2 big boys.
And a whole new studio.
And 2 studios. That's great. I'll be in Colada studio Wednesday morning. Times are looking up, baby.
There was a time when we were doing it from that thing where I was like, I don't think this baby has the horses anymore. And they were like, we got to upgrade. And somebody came in and was like, how are y'all doing this? We're like, I don't know enough to even answer that question. So
we're doing
built
it.
A
That's all that matters. We're doing it.
So we built a computer.
How was your weekend, Jay?
It's pretty good. Not much rest.
That's
kind
good.
of fast paced. A lot going on. But it was good. A nice little trip to Dallas.
Quick trip. Long
In and
trip.
out.
Quick but long.
Quick but long. In and out.
Yep.
I got my money's worth. Let's just put it like that.
Oh, it seemed like it.
That's all that matters.
Yeah, we got our money's worth.
Jackie boy, how about yours? You're out of school. You're living the life here in Baton Rouge. No school, right? You're not taking winter session or anything like that, are you?
Hell no.
So you're just living it up. You're enjoying it.
He said, look.
Thermo, he's healthy. He's not sick on the weekends right now. He's good to go. Lloyd, how was yours?
My weekend? Good. I did. Sorry to say, Tyler, our new sponsor, did not make it to the party yesterday. We're supposed to do a Christmas party, like we said. Didn't make it.
Sunday.
Why didn't you make it?
I decided to be more responsible. I was like, if I go there, then I won't be able to make it back.
I respect that.
If I would have gone yesterday, I wouldn't be here right now, it feels like. So glad
Still?
I didn't go, but
Still? At 8 o'clock tonight?
Yeah, I don't know where I would have been. But it feels good to be here with the boys in a little Christmas season.
Listen.
Great team lunch on Friday.
Great team lunch on Friday. Great meetings about the future of the show and what we're going to do and what we're trying to do. It is Christmassy right now. Right now it's a little sloppy. It's a little cold.
The people driving.
And a little wet. Worry about the people driving now.
Jesus.
Wait until they're driving on Friday when the roads are iced over because it rained through the night and it's 19 degrees. people in Louisiana don't know how to drive in the
And
in
it's-
the winter.
And it's close to Christmas too.
And everybody needs some last minute, last day, like last minute,
day,
because
yeah.
that's the 23rd. Christmas Eve is on the 24th on Saturday. It's gonna be 19 degrees. People bundle up, stay inside, wrap your pipes, have the water running, so you don't have little busted pipes. That'd be a very bad deal to have on Christmas weekend. But if you're worried about people driving now, wait till Friday.
Are you rapping them or is Allie rapping them?
They're already wrapped, Coach.
Okay.
They're already wrapped.
Okay.
I wrap them and have a little drip in the water just to make sure.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Just checking
What?
out.
You don't know why you drip the water?
I know why you drip the water because, speaking of previous shows, whenever it got cold last year when we did it at the UDL, Jordy's house, we forgot to drip the water and all the pipes were frozen over and it was just a disaster.
Well, you're lucky they didn't bust.
Yeah, we are. And I think one did. But that's not my house, so I
Not your
don't know
house.
what happened after that.
But that's
We've
why you
learned.
do it.
We've learned. Sometimes it takes one of those experiences to realize.
Especially when you're a little older of a house and an older place, like that was,
Well, yeah. It feels like Jordy should have known, right? I mean, he's 40.
I mean, I don't know. But we're not gonna get into that. I don't know who knows how to do what with pipes, but you live and you learn, you figure it out. But yeah, it's nice to have the squad back. We missed y'all on Friday. Didn't have a show from Uncle Earl's. We're gonna have some news about that here coming on pretty soon about the future of Mik'd Up and where it's going and what it's gonna be. We're gonna wait until that is official before we start making any types of announcements. But let's get to sports. I gave you the Heineken headlines. I didn't mention the NFL. I didn't mention the Saints. The Saints reminded everybody that they still know how to win a game, even though they tried not to win the game. Right? They tried to lose the game. They didn't. They won. They closed it out, swept the Falcons. Believe it or not, they're one game back. Now, if you win that game on Monday Night Football,
Can we stop doing this?
No, listen. I don't think they're going to win. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. But my point is, if you just run, punt, run, punt, you probably win that game on Monday, and you're in first place in the division, which is
Crazy.
that just talks about how bad the division is, right? Taysom Hill looked very good. Again, it's weird once they use him the way they use him. It's weird how they win games that way. But needless to say, I need them to win one of the next two. They only have two left, right?
What's their record?
They are 5 and 9. No, they have 3 games left.
Yeah. They're 5 and 9.
5 and 9.
The Bucks are 6 and 9, right?
Yeah.
We're not concerned about them making the playoffs. We have this bet of combined.
No, the Bucks are 6 and 8.
Oh, they got they have 3 games left.
No,
Saints,
the Bucks
Browns.
are 6 and 9. This is week 15.
So they have 18 weeks.
Yeah, so they did have 8.
So 6 and 8.
Three games left. Saints and Browns. Saints and Eagles. Panthers, Saints.
So hopefully the Panthers game for sure is a win. I think you can maybe sneak a Browns win. It's at home, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's at the Browns.
It's tough. It's gonna be tough. Even though the Saints team is kind of built like a cold weather team, run the football, play good defense.
except for they're never
don't
outside.
chuck it, and they're never outside. Yeah, that's the problem.
That's the biggest part about being
you
built
go
like a cold team.
Go practice all week this week. This is going.
It's a good week to do it.
It's a good week to do it. It's gonna be nasty. It's gonna be cold. It's gonna be very cold, below freezing cold. But they look good.
Got to warm up the muscles.
They did.
Deshaun.
Okay. Well, we're not gonna go there.
Just couldn't
He
resist.
He couldn't.
He like threw it in there too. It didn't even fit. He just made sure I gotta slide this one in.
You gotta win. They have to win one of the next 3 for me to hit my combined bet of 14.5 wins. Our combined bet. We did that. We did that together. I feel like we should already be there. We are not. We have some work to do, and hopefully, they go ahead and they help us out. Pelicans had a rough road trip. They lost 3 in a row, 4 in a row, 3 in a row, 3 in a row. 3 in a row. They blew a couple leads. Not very good, but it happens. West Coast road trip against some good teams. It's one of those stretches. I think they're gonna be okay. BI's coming back soon. I think they're gonna be all right. We still got to get to.
They play the Bucks tonight.
We still got to get to the game though. I got to get to a game.
Yeah. It's a plan after the holidays.
Feet on the hardwood.
After the holidays.
Yeah, after the
Let's
holidays.
make that happen.
I need
Feet on
after the
the floor.
holidays because hopefully I have some new stuff coming. I need to
It'd be nice.
put those things on the hardwood. You know what I mean?
That'd be nice.
But
I'll
there's
jack up a 3.
Make you look like
Yeah.
make you look like you might have 5 minutes in you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I have my outfit picked out already of whenever I'm on the court. You know what I mean?
Laid out on the bed.
Yeah, I
Like
laid
the
it
first
out.
day of school?
Laid it out, bro. It's hanging in my closet. Like, hey, this is what I'm gonna wear. Maybe add a little chain to it. Who knows? I don't
Oh,
know.
no way.
I got a little chain, a little David Yurman cross chain.
Ah.
Little black diamonds.
He pulls,
I
it
bought
out.
one the
He
other
pulls
day.
it out every now and
Every
then.
now and then. I used to do it a lot, and then now it's like, well, why? What am I trying to do? What am I trying to do anymore? I'm not playing baseball. I'm not that cool anymore. But there's 2 weeks left until LSU is in their bowl game. Bowl season has started. If you haven't been paying attention, because I didn't really pay attention until I saw it on the team. I was like, what? There's bowl games have started, huh? Yep, they're here. They've started. But I think everybody will be a little bit more entertained with the LSU game. I think there's a lot to look forward to. Is Jaden Daniels going to play? According to Brian Kelly, if the game was tomorrow, he would be available to play. So it seems like he is going to be the starter. He hasn't come out and made an announcement on whether he's coming back or going to the draft. I think everybody assumes he's coming back. You won't know until he actually says it. I appreciate you, Lloyd, for putting the ticker on there. That looks amazing. It looks great.
Thank you, sir.
Yep. It's up for if anybody wants to sponsor the ticker. It's there. Come and sponsor it for us.
Yeah, it is.
We need
It
it.
is for sale.
It is for sale. But what do y'all? What are you looking for? And during the bowl week, right? Because it gets kind of weird. You have a little time off. There it goes. A little time off before, like after the end of the season and the bowl game, right? And then Christmas happens, and you got to practice through Christmas usually, correct? Or you maybe get a day off or something during Christmas.
Yeah.
And then you have
Just depends on
the
what
bowl.
the game is.
What goes into the preparation of bowl week, or I guess the
Bowl
2
prep.
weeks? Bowl prep.
Not
Is it weird to get back going? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
really. I mean, you don't have that much time off. Like I think what they took off 1 week completely of doing nothing, or was it maybe 2 weeks completely of doing nothing? Kind of let the body recharge a little bit. And you'll get back into it. Obviously, it depends on what day your actual bowl game is, but the bowl prep it's different because it almost kind of works as like the summer camp in the first game of the year, right? Like
Right.
you have so much time to prepare for one opponent, so you kind of get a little more time to kind of fine tune things that you've seen that they do. And I won't say practices are drawn out; they're just, from my experience of them, they're just more detail oriented to what that team does at obviously a much earlier pace. But unlike summer, like when you're trying to do your own install and stuff, you
Right.
kind of have a good amount of time to actually prepare for that team.
do a lot of guys, like when you're prepping, right? Because, like, bowl season is, okay, kind of, I don't want to call it an exhibition because unless you're in the playoff, but if you're not in the playoffs, it kind of is like an exhibition. You want to win, you want to go out and you want to play well, but it also is like almost a showcase for the next season, right? Like, you have guys that are going to leave, whether they've announced or haven't announced or have announced and going to play. Like, these guys are probably gone. Or guys that are saying, hey, like BJ Ojolari, I'm going to go to the draft, but I'm not going to play in the bowl game. Now you have an opportunity for guys who really haven't had significant roles or maybe played all the time to come out and make an impression. Have you seen, at least in your experience when you were playing, did you have a lot of guys? Did you have guys that were kind of second on the depth chart, had some sparingly, like played sparingly throughout the course of the year, and then the bowl game hit, and then like, damn, they kind of like took that next step and like really jump started into the next year? You know what I mean? Like, do people use the bowl game as that, or is it like more of,
I mean,
what you see is what you're probably going to get?
well, nowadays in the playoff system and NIL, yeah, that's exactly what
Yeah.
you get. Old days, no, that wasn't a thing at all. It was, you're pretty much still getting the same team that ended the regular season. And from my experience with it as well, it was, you got to remember, it was Sugar Bowl with a 2-loss team, national championship, and then we had the, I think, 4 or 5-loss team, I think, that played Georgia Tech, right?
Yeah.
So my experiences of it was, like basically New Year's Bowl, another New Year's Bowl, or after New Year's Bowl. So we were, in a pretty late and significant game, so that wasn't really a thing.
Yeah.
But that's become more of a thing recently now, where it's, you got the BJ's out. Well, somebody's got to play in BJ's spot, right? So that's where you see, just like you said, here's a month, basically another camp to give that next guy who's possibly next, like, hey, here's your audition.
So who would be next? Do you know who would be next
Probably
behind
Xavion Jones.
Xavion Jones, right? And then there's another one. I know,
Quincy
obviously,
Wiggins.
but
He'll probably play.
he play a little bit, and then you
They
have
played in 4 games, but the NCAA passed a waiver to where that won't take.
right, which is great. Would have been nice last year. We could have used us in the bowl game.
Yeah,
but
so
of course
Wiggins
not.
will get to play. I know there's some of the freshman defensive backs like LaTerrence Welch will get to play because Mekhi Gardner is not playing in the bowl game.
What about the other? Isn't there another defensive end? Is it Carter? Or is it isn't there another defensive end that's a kind of a monster on LSU's team? Not Savion Jones.
Quincy Wiggins?
Outside of Quincy Wiggins, is there someone else? Or am I just making a name up? Maybe I'm making a name up in my head. Maybe so. Who knows? Anyway, it's going to be nice to see these guys kind of take a role of, a more in-depth role on the defense and seeing what they can do, because obviously they're hoping to be a big part of the defense come next year. Offensively, I think you're going to see a lot of the same that you've seen through the course of the year, right? Obviously, depending on who's playing quarterback, if Jaden's going to be able to go or not, it seems like he's going to be able to go.
And that was going to be my question
Yep.
to you, is do you think that it feels like he's kind of wants to use this almost experimentally whenever we were saying, I'd like to see LSU not lose 3 in a row, but
you don't have much of a chance if BJ says, "Hey, I'm out."
Oh, I know, but no, that's what I'm saying. Does it change the tune of what they're kind of trying to go into? Like,
No.
do
I
you
think-
started Jaden Daniels? Or
I
do you
think
start
I
going-
think they're still trying to win it at all costs. They're just gonna have to use who they have. You're not gonna have a BJ, so it has to be the next guy up. You know what I
I
mean?
will
Like
say
that's
they're not as hurting as some other teams were. Like Florida went out there and it was like, whew.
Well, Florida seemed like they were like kind of like us last year, where they didn't have a lot of their starters. They were just throwing out a team just to have a team.
Purdue's
Just
kinda-
reset.
Yeah,
Purdue's in the same
Purdue's
boat.
obviously going
Right.
to be shorthanded.
No
Their
quarterback.
starting quarterback's not playing, and their best receiver's not going to be playing.
And
They
their
both
coach ain't there.
and their coach is gone.
right.
So they have.
But they got Drew Brees.
Yeah, Drew's doing it. Drew's going to be the assistant coach.
He is going for the.
How much coaching is Drew actually going to be doing? Do you think?
I think that was just like
A recruiting
Purdue.
play.
Hey, you're going to be like technically you're like the guest captain kind of thing, but
I
like
think they just needed some good news, and he was like, "I'll step in." It's like, oh, if you're Purdue, you're like, "Oh, that's kind of cool," because they have nothing going for them right now in terms of you lose your coach, then you lose basically your assistant coach, then your quarterback.
do they have
opts
the line out yet of LSU game?
Oh yeah,
What is it?
it went from 7 to 14.
Hmm.
Where have you not bet it
I
yet?
haven't bet it yet. I know you got it at
The
7.
road to 2K
With
continues.
that question, sounds like he has not bet it.
You got it at 7.
Mm-hmm.
Good for you. I'm happy for you.
Thank you. I mean, it's no guarantees.
My
but-
betting this weekend was not good.
Mm.
I did not do very
this
well.
weekend some action. Any parlays or just straight
I had
up?
some parlays, and actually the parlay I thought was going to hit. I had 49ers game, but I had McCaffrey with a touchdown, George Kittle with a touchdown,
Couple player
and
parlay.
McCaffrey
Okay.
over 39.5 yards receiving. McCaffrey scored a touchdown in the first half. Kittle scored a touchdown in the first half. McCaffrey went into halftime with 6 catches and 30 yards. I'm like, oh,
And nothing.
not one catch in the second half.
The real question is who had? I would love to know who threw some money down on Colts and who at halftime.
Bro, it was minus 25,000 was the Colts' favorite to win that game because
They
they're
up
up
33 to nothing.
33 nothing at halftime.
At half.
It
I
was
would
plus
lo-
20. I mean, minus 25,000 for them.
Man.
So what was it on the other end?
Yeah, what was the other?
I
end?
didn't look at the. I just saw.
Somebody did
So, I'm
it.
about to say somebody threw something on it.
But here's the deal, bro.
And that's
Matt Ryan has been the quarterback on the opposing team of 2 of the
He's
biggest
dead, right?
comebacks.
No, not of the biggest.
Two
the two biggest.
two biggest.
And
The biggest
regular
and-
season.
Yeah, that's right.
the
And biggest in postseason.
And not postseason. Well, I don't know about
Biggest-
postseason,
biggest
but for
Super
sure
Bowl.
Super Bowl. Yeah,
That's tough.
that's a tough way to go out.
Listen, they were down 33
That's
nothing.
still not as tough as the Patriots one. I saw a tweet.
I was about to get to
I
that.
saw a tweet.
Yeah.
It was like the Colts losing in the worst way possible, and they're like Patriots like hold my beer.
I mean,
It's only not as tough because one of them was a borderline playoff team, and the other one's out of there already.
the Patriots, the way they lost that game.
Did they not know that it was tied?
He said he did.
He knew it was tied, but here's the deal, bro. Like, if you're gonna be doing the pitchback, that's fine.
Throw it to Mac Jones.
You've got to know. I'd rather you hold this football and get tackled and let the game end or go into overtime, as opposed to you just forcing a ball up. What is Mac Jones gonna do with that ball?
That's what I'm thinking too.
Mac Jones is gonna be able to throw the ball downfield.
He can't. Yeah,
He can't throw it forward.
It looked like the running back had like some green grass.
They
Like,
had a
took
shot.
off.
It looked like they had a
I'll
shot.
say this. This might
Now
be.
Mac Jones got
Oh, you got
Oh.
Chandler Jones. That's tough. Now
put him in the dirt.
listen, flat-footed. He probably should have been a little bit more ready and prepared for that situation.
Why? He's probably looking at it like,
How?
why is this ball coming over here?
But like,
What
what do you want me to do with this?
Flat-footed, it gets intercepted by Chandler Jones, and then you have a wingspan of like 7 feet tall, like stiff arming you, and Mac Jones just like, okay, I'm done.
Yeah, it's just
just
stupid.
put me into the dirt, and then it just.
He did
off.
put. He put the one hand up on the wave. He's like, maybe.
He should have tried to just trip him and get a penalty, and just hope that they don't kick a field goal or miss the field goal.
That was brutal. That's
Been
not,
a wild
That's not
NFL.
Bill Belichick football.
It's been a wild NFL season. The Texans are really screwing up everybody's bets. The last 3 or 4 weekends, they have
2 for sure.
They have played very well.
Taking
without
people
winning.
to the wire that they
Played very well
that they have
without
no
winning.
business being in the game with.
MCDC's fucking doing it over there in Detroit, huh? I mean,
Who would have their over and wins?
They went 1-6. They were 1-6. Now they're 7-7.
Scoring 30 a game.
Playing decent defense too. They learned how to
Hey,
tackle.
good for Jared Goff, man.
Hey,
They left him out for dead.
No
Like
doubt.
made it seem like he was the reason why. Good for him.
They were talking about when they were doing all these mock drafts about, and they're still kind of bringing it up.
No,
like,
they're
going
gonna
to
draft him. No, they're going to draft him.
but like,
but yeah,
they don't have to draft one that's like ready right now. Now they can draft a guy and they can
And
sit
let him
behind
sit.
Goff
Yeah,
for
yeah.
a few years because Goff's playing well, man. He's playing really, really well. The receivers are playing well. Chark's playing very well. Amon-Ra
team
St.
is.
Brown's playing very well. The running backs are playing. Like it's just they're
The
good.
whole team's in.
The whole team is in.
And-
MCD
and-
says
and
MCC.
that's- yeah.
The pick 6 was it a pick? Yeah, it was pick 6. No, yeah, no.
No,
Jaguars.
that was the Jaguars.
It's been a wild NFL year and wild weekend. Go ahead. What were you gonna say?
No, I'm just saying it's
Detroit
one of,
returned to punt.
Huh?
They returned to punt.
That's right.
Though.
I was just gonna say it's been MCDC is one of those guys to where obviously very rah. If it doesn't work, then at what point do y'all stop buying in?
Yeah, but I don't think he's as rah-rah as
I don't
you
think
think.
it's as rah-rah as you
like,
think.
he's just that's the way he motivates, right? Like, people could say the same thing with Dion. You know what I mean? Like, oh, Dion just does the motivation stuff in the locker room and, like, tries to get them riled up and whatever. But, like, I think that's just his way of leading the team. I don't think it's rah-rah like an act. I think that's just the way he talks.
I don't take him as rah-rah. What I take that team as is if you remember it, if you watched Hard Knocks at all and you remember at the beginning of the year, they were so ingrained because that's been the culture of that building for a long time on how to lose. Like they just knew how to lose. If there was a way to lose, they'd find a way to lose it. Now they started being competitive and they were still finding a way to lose at the end. And I think that took a while for them to kind of get over that little bit of a hump with all the right people leading that thing in the building now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It reminds me. I don't want to compare him to Edo because I don't think that's fair to MCDC. But it's that same style of leadership to where you're like, when does this message get stale?
See, but it's different. But it's different. But here, you know why it's different? And I'm just things like this actually matter at the end of the day. You know why it's different? Because Dan Campbell is sitting there as a man that's played 15 years in the league. So when you want to call him rah-rah, you still at the end of the day have to remember, oh shit. He's done this.
Not only did
he's done it longer than I've been doing it.
Not only did he play in the league, he was in Miami with that whole debacle that went down there, and he ended up taking the interim job for like a couple games to finish out that year. Then he coached under Sean Payton in New Orleans for a long time.
But before he coached under Sean Payton, who did he coach under?
I don't know. You tell me. In Dallas? No. Who? Where?
In Miami. Was it in Miami? I think it was in Miami.
Who was
Bill
the coach?
Parcells. So he's coached under Bill Parcells. That's who gave him his first job. He's coached under Bill Parcells, which I'm pretty sure the majority of that team knows. He's coached under Sean Payton, and he's played 15 years. If I hear him go rah, 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 I'm going to be like, man, some of this, we got to be right. There's no way it's all wrong.
The difference between him and Coach O, I feel like, is like, yeah, there may be a little bit of like that whole like meathead energy. But when you talk to him about the X's and O's and you talk to him about like the overall scheme of the team and where they want to go, I think he has a better grasp and understanding and can explain that a little bit better to his guys as opposed to Coach O, who's more of, oh, we'll figure it out, just play hard and we'll go Tigers. You know what I mean? Like, you just don't really know if Coach O was.
I don't think
articulate
Coach
to
O
his
was bad
guys.
at that. I think what Coach O's known his whole life was defensive line.
Right.
I think he can X and O the shit out of you with defensive line.
Yeah, right.
But that's not. There ain't many. Go find all these defensive line head coaches. That's what he got elevated to, right? Dan Campbell's been in the offensive rooms a bunch. He's been a tight end. He's learned protections. He's learned how to all that stuff. So I think being on the offensive side of the ball and all that stuff for so long that stuff's helped him to understand, quote unquote, the X's and O's.
Not to change the subject.
Yeah, change the subject. Let's go.
But a little controversy in the chat as we go. Who has more tanks this year to LSU baseball, Tommy Tanks or Dylan Cruz?
We're getting there already.
They set the over-under at 25.
Wow, that's
That's
a big over-under, huh?
That's a lot of tugs.
Yeah, but Tommy Tanks had 26 last year, and I think Dylan had 23 or 24.
That's still a huge over-under, though. Let's be honest.
Okay, over under 22, I think.
But I guess you put him in the same lineup. who's protecting who?
Who's to say a couple of those don't end up being doubles? That's still a lot.
Yeah.
That's what I said. I said, like,
Who's to say a couple of these games will win? That's still a
I
lot.
said. Fellas, I appreciate the
22.
candor.
Over under 22, I think is a better number.
I think
Yeah.
they both hit the over, but Tommy has 2 more than Dylan.
2 more,
Okay.
huh? That's the take.
2 more than Dylan. I think there's gonna be a lot of homers hitting the box.
Yeah.
But I just thought that was interesting because 25 seemed like a big number to me.
It is, but it's
lofty.
it's based off what they did last year. I guess that's what they're going off.
How many
of.
did he hit last
Tommy
year?
Tanks?
No,
26.
Cruz.
27.
22 or
I
23.
think like just under 25. Because remember we thought he was going to get to 25.
If-
I think if he made it to Omaha, he was going to get
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Or the Supers. They did go to the Supers.
No,
No,
No, they were in.
they lost.
Yeah.
They were supposed to go to the
Southern's
Supers.
pissed.
I thought if they got through the regional, like all the way to Omaha, I thought he was going to get to 25 because he was kind of getting hot.
Yeah.
It was hot at the
Yeah.
end of the year.
Not to derail, but I just
No,
thought
no,
that
it's
was
fine. It's fine. I mean,
interesting.
this is a Monday show. We got a lot going on in sports. We don't really have one singular thing that we can hone in on. We're going to talk a lot of LSU, obviously. We're going to talk a lot of LSU baseball in the second hour, getting ready for Konnor Griffin to come on the show. Like I said, he's coming on at 7:30. There's NFL's going on. Listen, the NFL's prime time right now because they got Saturdays and Sundays now. This is when the NFL has the whole weekend to itself.
The Saturday game snuck up on me.
I know.
They snuck up on
Saturday
me
game
this week.
snuck up on me, and the finals of the World Cup snuck up on me on 9 a.m. on Sunday.
Those didn't sneak up on me. Those hit me right in the face.
That was
Oh, you still,
that was electric.
Oh,
you
well, I
still
would,
awake?
I don't want to say still. I took a
hadn't go to bed yet.
a little cat nap.
Yeah.
A little cat nap.
Little
Black
cat nap.
Yeah, a little cat nap.
But
but-
electric, obviously that's probably going to be somebody's, I'd imagine, curtain call later on for Messi because he finally gets his flowers.
I mean,
But I think we should do a little pivot.
Yep. I was
LSU
gonna get
football.
there. I was gonna get there.
Aaron Anderson, he's
Your guy.
my guy, and I'll hand up. I want him. Glad to have him back. I think it goes to show how far you can go in 1 year whenever you see, I guess, Florida and what they look like in the bowl game, and you lose your quarterback who's opted out. Like, it seems like almost 2 ships passing in the night, and then you get LSU where they are adding pieces, and then you get an Aaron Anderson in the portal. Almost, if you're have half a brain, able to solve your not only return game on kickoffs and punts, but you're able to add a weapon that I don't think a lot of people in the country have. Like, you didn't get to see it at Alabama because he got hurt early on, but he is somebody that if you haven't seen him play, type his name in. It's AARON Anderson, and then go look at what he did whenever it looks like he's just toying with kids.
I would love to know what that November 6th game did to his mindset.
Mm-hmm.
When he came down here in an Alabama uniform to watch that game or be a part of that game. Obviously, he didn't play that much. Be a part of that game and in that environment and how the game ended up. I wonder how far that went in his mindset the rest of the season and into the decision that
Well,
he
we've
made.
talked about that too. It's like whenever you're home and you're from Louisiana, it's easy to say I'm gonna go somewhere else. I'm gonna leave the state. I'm gonna go somewhere. I don't want to. I'm gonna spread my wings and fly a different way, right? And you come back to Baton Rouge, and you're like, damn,
I could be
I don't-
celebrating right now.
I didn't want to leave that. Like you finally feel like you're at home again. It's the first time you're back home. Like, what do they say? Out of sight, out of mind type of thing. So when you're at Alabama, you're not here. You're not in the middle of everything around Louisiana. You kind of forget about it. You come back and you see it. It's like, maybe I didn't make the right decision. And I'm not playing. I kind of want to go back home. Uh-oh. Well, we got to fix that thing. It's all right. Look, we're getting there. Did we get it?
Yeah, I'm all in the mic too right now.
I'm looking at him. Look at that. We did it. We fixed it. Thanks, Lloyd.
Yep.
Dude, you're just a producer. You're the mechanic. You're the IT guy.
Jack of all trades,
And
man.
Man of many hats.
Master of none.
Hey, who was the other-
Underwear on.
Who was the other receiver? Who was the other receiver that year out of Louisiana that went to Alabama?
Shaz Preston.
That's right. Did he play any this year?
But he hasn't hit the portal yet. It doesn't seem like he will. he's also another one that was a very Louisiana guy. The thing with the Aaron Anderson thing that makes it very interesting is what they do at Edna Carr is, and I think we talked about this a little bit last week, is the coach doesn't let you decommit, essentially. He says if you commit to a school, you have to honor your commitment. But with the Ed Orgeron effect and everything that happened, he was like, well, obviously this is like mitigating circumstances, you know? So he's able to take his visit to Alabama, commit to Alabama. But I think there's a lot of merit to what you are saying. Whenever he comes to Tiger Stadium, it looks like that, and that's the place he wanted to go. And then it's hard to say that it's like, oh, there's an opening for me there because LSU's receiver room is crowded. But he also feels like he's a difference maker in terms of I'm gonna be able to get on the field no matter what.
I'd also say this too. Obviously, we talked about the November 6th game, but I'd also say like shows a lot too because if this place is done right, when it's done right, it's hard to turn down. And I don't care if you're from here or from somewhere else. It's really hard to turn this place down.
And like you're right. Like no matter where you're from, right? You could live in Baton Rouge, and it'd be hard to turn on.
If you showed up November 6th,
I mean, look at all the guys that come in here. Like, listen, all the guys that we've played with that didn't even play football, they come down here and they're like, damn, like if you're a football recruit and you see this, how do you not show up?
But for saying it too, you got to remember, dude. Like if you take what happened November 6th, and obviously not exactly that night, but I'd say up through maybe 16-ish, you were pretty much getting that kind of an atmosphere game in and game out, right? And so it's hard to show up here, get that atmosphere, and say, nah, this ain't the one for me. And I don't really care where you're from. When this place is done right, it's hard to walk away from here and not be like supremely impressed about what the experience you got.
Which it seems like that's why you've got Toviano. That's why it seems like you're gonna get Desmond Ricks, who's on his official visit right now. He's a 5-star guy. And all these guys that are from Louisiana that have left are coming back in the portal, which is good to see. And it's good that Brian Kelly has seems like he's got a stronghold on Louisiana again, which is
Frank Wilson.
Well, yes, that's definitely part of it. But like, he understands what he needs to do to have it, right? That's obviously a big part of it. But there's an article that you put in the doc, which I appreciate, and it talks about some of these other coaches talking about what has made Brian Kelly a successful recruiter in Louisiana when that was kind of the biggest question. And it just talks about how he's very genuine, he's very open, he's very honest, and he comes off as if he cares a lot about the player, which he does, right? I think we've all noticed that in his conversations and when he has his pressers. And I'm going through some of these quotes in his presser, and he's very honest about some of the stuff. He's not just going to say stuff to get to make you happy because you heard it, right? Like he's going to say things that he means. He's going to be very calculated on how he says things. Prime example of that, I believe, we kind of mentioned this a little bit, is if you hadn't seen it, there's a question about him and Kayshawn's relationship since Kayshawn announced he was coming back. I don't know if you have that as a clip. Lloyd, do you?
No.
You don't have that as a clip?
No, the dad's gone, so I didn't have to do any clips.
What about your stepdad?
No respect.
I
mean,
no. I mean, I put all the quotes in there. I didn't clip it because I had to do like 18 docs, and then Jacques showed up and didn't know how to get into the Google Docs, and so he wrote all of his he wrote everything out.
Smell that? What does that smell like?
I hear a lot of bullshit. That's what sounds like to me.
I wasn't gonna do it.
When that like explanation gets real long, that's when you're just full of shit. Like
I was trying to find the lie too.
What happened is when and then
what happened.
And I never even heard the name Jacques here before, and all of a sudden that name comes.
Well, Jacques Duce hosted the show this morning. I will give him that.
Well, I'm just saying.
Yeah, I know. I get it. He's throwing out names.
Names
Lindsay shows up. Who's Lindsay? New girl. We just hired her. Then we fired her the same day.
It was her fault.
I don't know. It was her fault. We didn't have it. She was supposed to do that. Was her job. I don't know. I just made up a random name. There's no Lindsay in there. Just made that
Happy Monday to you too, Lloyd.
Okay. Anyway, what he said was the reason why I brought this up is because Brian Kelly talked about the relationship with Kayshawn.
Let's see if I can clip it.
And he used the word evolving, right? He talked about Kayshawn's relationship off the field is evolving with Brian Kelly. And to me, I know people are going to make that out to be a big deal. to me, Brian Kelly went on to say after that, everybody in the program, or everybody has evolved in this program. It's an evolving program. Kayshawn's not different than anybody else. Everybody has to kind of see that, evolve to what the new staff is, evolve to what the new expectations are. And people are going to make it, their relationship's still a little bit like not great. To me, it seems like Brian Kelly was like, okay, I'm not going to make this about any one player. I'm going to say this, and I'm going to follow this up with my explanation on why I said he's evolving so that it doesn't become a story about me and Kayshawn, because that's going to distract from the preparation of the bowl game. That's going to distract from everything he's done and everything the players on the team have done. And to me, it was kind of a calculated response and a calculated use of wordage. I don't know if you feel the same way. I don't know if you feel the same way.
Well, I didn't hear it, so
I didn't either. I'm just reading it.
Okay.
Yeah.
What?
Well, that wasn't a dig at you. That wasn't.
I would love to hear it and not read. And I'm not.
I wasn't making a dig
I'm not
at
saying
you.
this to you, but I would love to hear it and not just read parts of it or whatever, because I do think that would kind of, for
There's
me,
context.
it would just give me more context.
I think it sounds a lot like I'm sick of being asked about my relationship with Kayshawn. Like, it's fine. Stop asking about it. So you
Right. Like, just kind of not dismissing it, but basically dismissing it in a professional way.
Well, what I think he's doing is you're seeing a little bit of the opt-outs with the BJ Ojulari, and you see some people that are not necessarily, like, he's trying to let you know that he still has the ear of the team with Kayshawn's coming back, and he's trying to build off that for the rest of the year and moving forward is to, like, if I can get Kayshawn back, which is probably, would you say, going into the year, probably your best player. Like, people have other motives as soon as you get, like, BJ did all he could at LSU. Kayshawn has an opportunity to improve on his draft stock. I don't think he's trying to do anything other than say, look,
Right.
this could be, we could have, if you come back, this is the hardest pool that you can do, I'd imagine, is bring somebody back for their senior year whenever they were projected before the year as like a top, 20 pick? Top 15 pick.
First receiver off the board.
First receiver off the board. And then for him to be, so he's trying to tell you that, like, look, there's still merit in coming back for your senior year. And I think it might be playing in a little bit to, like, if you want to read between the lines, to Jaden Daniels coming back. Like,
or Jaquelin Roy or guys.
or
like
yeah,
that.
exactly. Like, he's trying to talk to some of the guys.
I feel like Jaquelin Roy probably should come back. That's what I think.
I think LSU needs him also.
Right, but for him, I think that he's a guy that would benefit greatly from coming back as far as
Because
going
he
to
was
the NFL.
projected in some mocks as I think it kind of shocked all of us to where he was like, he's going to be a first-round pick. And we were like, I mean, he's been a good player, but I don't think he's a top 20
Well,
pick.
a lot of interior defensive linemen sometimes get more highly rated than they probably should, and it doesn't have to be on stats. It's based off of makeup or body
Projection.
type, projection, all that kind of stuff.
Office film too.
Yeah, a little bit of a
So
film
it's
for
not
sure.
necessarily you'll get it on the stats, but like,
Yeah, right,
that's not a
right.
high stat position,
Right.
If you got one that's putting out high, that's unicornish.
Yeah, and I think that if he comes back, it'd be more beneficial for him. But Brian Kelly, in his quotes said, basically his message to these guys: if you want to come back and work on some of the things that you need to work on to become a champion, is what he says, and then move on. Great. If you just want to move on, that's your decision, and he leaves it up to them. But he's honest, and I think that's important. If the coach is honest with you and basically lays out the expectation of himself, and what you should have expected of yourself, I think that goes a long way to build, I guess, the trust and with the guys coming back. At least that's what I think. At least for me, if that's how he did it to me, that's how I would take it.
And I think we have Barrett Granger in the chat who brings up an interesting point, and I don't know if it'll happen, when it'll happen, or if does Garrett Nussmeier follow Jack Besh over to TCU? Because it does, because Max Duggar just declared.
Yep, I
He's
thought about
from
that today.
He's from that area.
He's from around there. His dad's still in Dallas, right? No, was in Dallas. Is he still there?
Yeah, he's
He's
there.
the quarterback's coach.
Yep. So it makes sense.
Those puzzle pieces fit.
Nuss and Jack are tight. They're roomies. So
Yeah, they're at the theater together right now.
I mean, I wasn't gonna out their social
Wait,
calendar.
I mean, just means they're friends.
Yeah, but like, what if weird people go and see them?
Dude, there's already weird people at the movie
I mean,
theater.
it's
I
Avatar.
went to go see Avatar.
You don't know. We don't know if that's what they're going to see. They didn't tell me what they're going to see.
I guess. Avatar was a bust, but
Did you see it?
See,
I saw
Lloyd
it
said he
last
liked
night.
it. Lloyd said he liked
Well,
it, and
I
Lloyd
didn't like
Lloyd
it.
is the most
Wait,
anti.
you didn't like it? I heard millions of people say it was better than the first one.
It was.
Lloyd's so
Not good.
anti-popular movie, and he liked it.
That's inebriated.
He gave me good.
I didn't think it was very good. I mean, like the CGI,
dialogue-
the
yeah,
CGI
yeah,
was
it
great and
looked
all. Like,
cool.
yeah, like it looked great.
You
It's
can't
just
go see the movie for the plot. The first one didn't have a plot. I
The
can't
second one
expect.
doesn't have a plot.
You
The
can't
second one has
expect
no
it to have
plot.
one.
It's actually they're actually in the same exact spot at the end of it that they were in the beginning.
Everybody's dead.
It's
Okay.
just it was.
Thanks,
and
Lloyd.
it-
All
it-
our listeners enjoyed you
it
ruining
was-
the movie for
It was
us.
and it
Spoiler
was
alert.
way longer than it needed to be. Like,
So
there was so
long.
many scenes where it's like we could have cut this out.
Yeah,
and
but
made it
Lloyd
2.5.
said you don't realize how long it is because it's such a good. It gets you kind of like Lloyd's just teetering back and forth on his reviews right
I
now.
was on mushrooms when I watched it. What do you want from me? I mean, it was good. We put a weed pin in the theater. It was awesome.
Okay,
like,
I mean-
I had pop. There's nothing better than movie
oh,
popcorn.
popcorn ices.
You didn't have popcorn.
That's
You
what
had
got
something
me.
else.
Yeah.
Did you eat the whole thing? The whole bag of popcorn?
No, but my buddy did get like a full.
I would have done-
He
I
would
did,
did
that's
full
what I did.
tub. I went small popcorn, small Coke icy. brought
Small
some-
popcorn.
He
Small,
ate three.
small
He ate
Coke,
three. He ate three.
Large
little-
ayahuasca.
Give me extra ayahuasca on the top, please.
They were-
Good night, kid.
He mixed in the ayahuasca. I don't know. Is ayahuasca something you eat or drink?
you drink it.
Okay, so
They
he mixed
said-
it into his icy.
You looked the right way when you asked this question. You realize that.
Put whiskey in the icy, little weed pit, little bit of
Little
mushrooms,
ayahuasca.
And, I was like, this is just an animated show, so might as well be a kid.
All right.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
look,
like-
it enhanced your viewing.
It did. I enjoyed it.
I'm happy for
they're
you.
coming out with a third one in 2024.
Oh, they've got a fourth one in the chamber too.
Then they're
Jesus.
planning on 5.
Okay, that's too much.
They're planning on 5. Well, yeah, there hasn't been
Why,
a
have
single
you,
point
have
of
you
a plot
checked James
yet.
Cameron's bank accounts from these? He'll keep making
Hey,
them until they say
funny
don't.
story about
No,
James
they
Cameron.
filmed like 4 of them at a time.
You know, James Cameron's wife is from a small town in Louisiana, right next to Oakdale, Louisiana. His wife
that's where they got the plot from.
was friends with my grandmother. Every Christmas, my grandmother in Oakdale, Louisiana. If you don't know where Oakdale, Louisiana is, I don't blame you. It is a very small town going up. It's probably 45 minutes south of Alexandria. Every Christmas, my grandmother would get a Christmas card from James Cameron and his wife and his family. Every year.
So you're gonna tell me what the name of this town is? or-
Oakdale.
I thought you said
Oakdale.
it's a small town right next to.
No, Oakdale is a small
Oakdale.
town right before
Come back.
Yeah.
to
Alexandria.
me.
Oakdale, Louisiana.
Yeah.
You can drive a golf cart there if you like.
What?
I think your uncle got it like street legal to where you can drive golf carts on
Oh,
the
really?
road. Yeah.
In Oakdale?
Mm-hmm.
All right, there we go. But that's a little fun fact about James Cameron, which I was walked in there, I was like, how do you know James Cameron? She's like, oh, I know his wife and me were. I'm like, okay.
Did you just try to give me grandma's voice just now?
Well, Mackie, it doesn't look like anybody wants you. Draft night. You're right. I don't think anybody wants me.
You know what? You are right now.
But back to football. You're talking about Kayshawn. We're talking about all the receiver room.
Let's get back to sports.
I know that story. That story is just.
It's
that's
great. I've
unbelievable.
told a story on the show before.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
It was great, and it was much needed at the time that it happened. It broke the ice. There was a lot of tension in the room.
I'm going back to school.
I kept seeing my signing bonus go down and down and down with every pick that I wasn't drafted, and then I was getting frustrated, and she added some levity to this situation unintentionally. And it was
I love
awesome.
that.
It
She
was
just
great.
get grandmas. They ain't got no.
Yeah,
No
filter.
filter.
Which is great. I can't
filter
imagine what
fish.
Lloyd's like when he's older and he's.
I'm not gonna make it that.
I mean, he already doesn't have a filter. I can't imagine what he's gonna be like
Yeah.
when he's old and it's okay not to have one.
I'm not gonna make it that long.
Well, I hope you do.
Me too.
I hope you do. But
Joey B busted Brady's ass real quick.
yeah, he did. Yes, he did. And I love that Joey B doesn't want to give it compared to Tom. He's like, I'm me. Tom's Tom. I'm Joe. Like, you shouldn't compare us. It's too early to compare, right? Obviously, what Joe's doing hasn't really been done. And the way he's doing it is very Brady-esque, but he's got a long way to go. He hasn't won a Super Bowl yet. He's made it to a Super Bowl, but it seems like Brady made a mistake coming back. I think.
He's donezo. Washed.
I don't know if he made a mistake.
I wouldn't say he's washed.
I don't know if he made a mistake.
I just think
I will
that the
tell
team
you,
is in a bad spot.
when it comes from this season to last season, the one thing that I feel like I have noticed when it comes to Brady is that Brady was as dependent on Belichick as Belichick was as dependent on Brady.
It was a perfect match.
New England still got a hell of a defense. They're really good on defense. They just ain't done anything on offense.
Yeah.
Brady threw the most touchdowns in his career last year. They weren't as good on defense. They're not as good on defense this year, and they got nobody in front of them. Seemed like that was the perfect marriage for everything that they did.
I agree.
Tom would have caught that ball on the lateral.
No.
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 I think
No shot.
Tom's pass
Tom
catching
would have
career
said
is
Tom
over.
would have dropped so many curse words while the ball was flying to him.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
How
But
many iPads get broken?
I don't want to get too far off the beaten path of this. I want to finish the LSU conversation. What are you doing over there? You're just like you don't want to add anything to our conversations. You're just grinning and smiling. Are you on mushrooms over there right now?
No, I wish. Straight
Okay.
off a nap. I'm just post-coital. Just happy.
Oh, really?
Finally got some rest.
Post-
Kayshawn, I think we'd all agree Kayshawn had a very bad, let's say bad, not a great year, right?
Not the year he expected to have,
No,
obviously.
but if you look at the numbers, right, he had 538 yards, 2 touchdowns, 48 catches, 530 yards, and 2 touchdowns. That's not first-round receiver stats. It's not the stats that you would expect to see from Kayshawn in a full season. He missed 2 games, right? But my whole point to this is, as bad of a year as he had, and this is probably the worst year he's going to have as a wide receiver, he still almost had 600 yards receiving, and he lost 2 games, and he averaged, we played 12 games in a regular season, so he played 10. So he almost averaged 5 catches a game in a bad season. My point is, coming back, let's just say he does a little bit better, and he averages 6 yards a catch. I mean, six catches a game for 12 games. That is 72 catches, right? With those 72 catches, he's probably got about 800 to 1,000 yards receiving, and he's probably going to score 6 or 7 touchdowns. And that's like not going berserk. Like, those are good numbers.
How many
in college.
catches did he have this year?
48. You know what I mean?
I have a question. So with Jure leaving and a guy like Aaron Harrison coming in, do you think you see more Kayshawn bouncing out maybe to the outside where Jure was in the formations and putting Aaron in the slot, or do you think Kayshawn stays exclusively?
Well, I'm
in the
not
slot
just going to go ahead and give Aaron Anderson that spot in the slot right now.
I am.
I mean, I know you because you love him. I get that, and he's very talented. But
or somebody like that.
listen, the receiver room is very deep and it's very good. And there's some guys that were here that have been here for a little bit, right?
Chris Hilton or
he's
something.
going to have to assimilate to the offense. He's going to have to understand the playbook. He's going to have to fit into this room. I'm not saying he's not going to, but it's not just, hey, you come in, you're the starter. Like, I mean, receiving rooms are a little bit finicky that way.
Well,
So I guess my question to you is, when you say Jure's gone, so is Kayshawn going to go back to the outside? Are you insinuating that when he was on the field and all three were on the field that he was the 3?
no, I'm just saying because I think more so in his sophomore year he got more snaps on the outside of the formations compared to this year. It was almost exclusively in the slot. I'm not talking about what the read was. I'm talking about actually putting him one-on-one on the outside with somebody's DB instead of having the slot where they can, shadow a safety or bump him, stuff like that.
I think they had him in the slot.
I think they put him on the slot to try to free him up.
Right.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I think they tried to do their best to free him up in those situations.
And I think that it was because Jaden was more comfortable throwing to that guy than it was throwing to the outside, throwing deep routes on the outside, especially early on.
And I also think, to your point, I think you're a little right in the sense of I don't think Jure had the same ability to work the slot as Kayshawn might have. So if they're all going to be on the field, it was probably best for him to be outside and Kayshawn to be inside. Mm-hmm. But I do think they used the slot to try to free him up, to try to get him in motions, to try to move him around the formation to where he wasn't so projectable.
I think they were trying to give him the versatility for the draft to be able to show like he can do everything, but it just never matriculated into what you wanted it to be in terms of if you're in the wide receiver room.
Right.
Like it obviously was. There's a reason that Jaden Daniels played. He gave you the best chance to win. Did you like the way it looked if you're a wide receiver? Probably not. If you give everybody another year together, then that's when you get to, okay, I'm gonna come back, and we can find a way to fit me more into the offense with Jaden Daniels in this offense, because that's when you get in the conversation. Like, I don't think Jaden's going pro. I don't think it matters.
So okay, so and that's for me. So like that's for me too, where I just don't see it that way in the sense of if the wide receivers hated it so much how it looked.
I don't think they hated it.
If the wide receivers hated so much how it looked with Jaden as a quarterback, why would you come back? I'd be gone. Right? Like
that's what I'm saying. I think they pitched him a plan.
Okay, I'm not just talking about Kayshawn, right? Who else left as a receiver? Who else chose to leave besides Jack, who we saw, which I would imagine it was because of the playing time, not because Jaden's back, I'm leaving. I'm assuming Jaden's back, I'm leaving. I don't think that that's how they saw it inside the building. I don't really think that that's how they see it. I think he sees it as, I'm going to have a better year next year, another year in the offense, another year working with this quarterback and us getting to do this thing, than me leaving this year with a lot left on the bone.
And, I mean, it's easy to forget how hard Kayshawn's offseason was.
Right,
he went through
wasn't
injury.
normal.
He went through injury again. He got a new quarterback, new coach, and the coach.
The man had a child.
And he had a
which
child
no
in the
one
middle
really
of
knew about until the thing.
Right,
So you never know what he was going on.
You missed a lot of the evolving together part, right?
So and I think they're trying to that's what I mean about running.
And I agree with you in that sense. Now, what I disagree with you on is them moving him in the slot because of the draft, to show in the draft. No coach is making a decision on this team to specifically because it's going to be better for the draft.
As I said, that decision can be made only under one circumstance. If the coach actually thinks if this hits, this makes the team better.
Right.
That's the only way that decision's being made. Like if he's like, hey, I'm gonna do this, but I don't think we're gonna be as good of a team if we do this. That's not gonna happen. Like those things don't happen. Like the coach doesn't say, Jay doesn't say, hey, let's move Dylan Cruz to center field just so we can showcase him for the draft. Well, we're probably a better team with Dylan in center field.
Yeah, that's I just maybe guys we've had here in the past maybe have made that decision because of that, like to keep a guy here happy. But I don't think that the staff now, they're not going to make a decision because it's better for the draft for this kid. They're going to make a decision that's
I think
better
they were
for
trying
the
to
team.
showcase his talents because he's been able to, if you get him the ball quickly.
No, I know.
Yeah.
I get that, but it just
didn't work the way it made sense, but it didn't work the way that they thought it would.
Right. And I just think that they did it because they wanted to get him the ball. It was because of that to help the team, not because of, hey, this is going to look good on his film for the draft. You know what I mean? That's just my...
I think in a perfect world is what I was trying to say. Like, perfect world, Jay Daniels, obviously, 1-2 read that I'm going to take off. Whenever it turns into, that's not really what the offense looked like. He wasn't trusting his reads. I think they all needed to get more time together. And then you look at Kayshawn's draftability. He's like, I'm not going to be a first-round pick. Let me come back, and then let's see how this all works when we are all together again. Is that fair?
Well, we were real judgy on this thing when it comes to the quarterback play, huh?
I love Jaden.
I'm just talking about in the sense of 1-2, I'm going to take off. Well, dude, the guy threw for damn near 70% on the whole year. He must have been pretty good at fucking finding 1 and 2 on the year, right? And putting the ball on him. My point to it is that we forget how much that O-line struggled at the beginning of the year. Mm-hmm. I'd be 1-2 back there too and out of that bitch. Because if I'm there any longer, I probably don't have anyone to throw it to.
I got some things.
That's all that stuff takes time, man. And I think a lot of that, what you saw from Jaden in the beginning of the year, new system, new O-line, new coach, new voices, that stuff takes time. And you saw a quarterback that stayed in the pocket a lot longer as the year progressed. Maybe partly because he was injured and he was compromised a little bit, but maybe also because he got a little more comfortable. And those guys up front got a little more comfortable, and they got a little more cohesive together.
Tell you what.
All that stuff matters.
You go look at – I'm looking at the stats right now of the season. Jaden had a 68.5% completion percentage, right? Threw for 2,800 yards. It's 2,775. So 2,800 yards, 16 touchdowns, 3 picks. Got sacked 43 times. That's not great. But that's not just all on him, right? And you go to the wide receivers. Malik Neighbors had 63 catches for 854 yards, 2 touchdowns, right? It's pretty good numbers in college, right? Obviously, you'd want them to be a little bit better. Kayshawn had 538 yards receiving. Jerry Jenkins had 400 yards. Brian Thomas, 330. Mason Taylor, 330. So my point is you had a bunch of guys that he was spreading the ball out to. You just didn't have one guy who was getting the majority of the yards. I think that bodes well moving forward. I would like to see them be a little bit more explosive in the passing game. I think, to your point, that comes with being around each other more, playing together. and building that chemistry.
Yeah, they didn't have any time together.
Right.
'Cause like I said, you kind of forget that Kayshawn was hurt and wasn't able to practice with Jaden, and Jaden comes into a new system. I think all of this was fresh for everybody. And I would love to see Jaden come back, and I love that Kayshawn's coming back. And I think that if you give them the opportunity to practice together for more than God knows how many reps they got together, and then it wasn't what you saw, but because what did Kayshawn do in his first 3 games?
Can
Yes.
I'm not changing the conversation, and I'm not comparing. I just need people to understand when you have new voices, new teammates, new coaches, all this stuff, how that stuff takes time to get together, like why it takes that. Can you tell me how many touchdowns Joe accounted for in 2018?
Oh, 18.
16. Can you tell me how many accounted for the next year?
60. I
60.
think we all know that one now.
Right? So can you tell me how many yards Joe threw for in 18?
Under 3.
28.94.
Yep.
So similar.
So about what, 100 yards less
100
than,
yards.
or more than Jaden?
Yeah.
It
Without
takes
the
time.
rushing?
It takes time.
Yeah, without.
No,
the-
I agree.
So
No.
nobody saw what Joe did next year. Nobody said, "Oh, that's going to be your Heisman winner next year, and he's going to count for 60 touchdowns."
No, he's projected to go
No.
undrafted.
Nobody saw that, and I'm not saying that Jaden's going to do that. I'm just saying that stuff takes time, and I think really not so much this room. I think outside because I ran into someone randomly this weekend that was just like, and I'm not saying he didn't. It was just like, God damn, Nussmeier looked damn good in that game. I'm thinking in my back of myself, I'm like, unless something catastrophic happens, he ain't gonna start, bro. I'm just kind of letting you know that right now. Like I don't
If it's
really
not
know.
Jaden, I think Walker has a better shot than Nuss. If it's not Jaden,
I think if the competition is between Nuss and Walker,
it's Walker.
I think Walker beats him out.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
I don't think it's necessarily close between those two.
I mean, we don't know, but
don't know.
I
Yeah.
agree. But I think that if that was a competition, I think Walker would be pretty excited. Like, okay,
I got a
I'm gonna
chance.
win this one.
Yeah, I got a shot.
Yeah.
I think I got a real shot.
But look,
Oh, well, that's what I think is so interesting about Brian Kelly saying that if we had a bowl game or had a game tomorrow, that I would start Jaden Daniels, which I think is kind of a peek behind the curtain to say that he's coming back. And I don't think that's a surprise to anybody, but it also tells you that what you saw from Nussmeier is kind of like, yeah, we've seen it before, but you have to realize that we've seen the bad also. And there's a reason he didn't win the job. And if it were, like, I agree, if it were to come down between Nuss and Walker, it'd probably be Walker because you want to get him for 2 years. Because if you have to start playing the transfer portal game and do all that stuff, then you have to pick one. But
you put him on camera. Yeah, he did you like that. He did you like that.
I don't know what happened.
I'm with you though. I'm with you.
I also think it shows where BK's trust lies between the two quarterbacks this year. Like Jaden might not be 100% yet, but if it was tomorrow, he'd be playing.
And knowing what I just found out reading that stuff too, I would imagine that was a big seller in the conversation with Kayshawn.
No.
Like, hey, look, this is what Joe did that year. This is what they did the next year. You don't think?
Well, he
Jaden
saw
can
it. The
make a
same
jump?
thing. Same thing happened with Jamar.
Right. Exactly. Like I would imagine that's probably a big.
Well,
part
Jamar
of
was
the
a
conversation.
freshman in 18, but still, you saw the jump.
It's new players.
Yeah.
You know, it's new players. Like, you know.
We'll see. I'm glad they're all coming back. I'm glad the receiver room is going to be a veteran receiver room now, right? Like that one in last
Finally,
this
yeah.
year. This year it came in as a strength. Next year is definitely going to be the strength of the team. You have 3 starters coming back basically. You know what I mean? Obviously, Jure was one of them, but you have
Brian
your
Thomas.
You're the top 2 guys, and then the top 3 talented guys in the room.
Chris Hilton's coming back from injury too, and he showed some stuff when he was playing.
Hey, he's a burner. He's a track
I'm not
guy.
sure you can say top 3 talented, but definitely top 3 receivers are back. There's one that just got added into there that could be a problem.
Oh, Aaron
So,
Anderson.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm talking about like from last year.
Oh, yeah.
From last year. Like the top 3 before take Aaron Anderson out.
Yeah.
Top 3 guys that were on the
Yeah.
talented wise are back.
Yeah.
What?
No, just man hit the ground.
And you got Mason Taylor too.
And Mason Taylor.
Yeah. In year 2.
It's gonna be. Listen,
That team's gonna be.
Dangerous.
I'm telling you, dude. Like,
offensive line's gonna be stacked. They're going to be very good. The running game is
If
going to be
they
better.
take care of what they need to do this off season and this fall and this spring,
Dangerous.
it could be a really dangerous squad next year.
And Josh Williams came on the show this morning and said he's coming back.
I think we all assume that.
Well, he's graduated.
Yeah.
He has 2
Yeah.
years left. He's already graduated.
Yeah, but I mean, where's
With
he
a
gonna go?
biology degree, impressive.
Just not play football anymore?
No, I mean, I don't think he was going to go to the draft, but I think it was a possibility to see if he wanted to explore other options because he.
Oh, to transfer out?
That's I mean, it's a crowded room. You have if
Yeah, but he was the
if
leader in the
Emery,
dog.
if Emery comes back, if Noah Kane comes back,
It's the same room that he just won the position.
I know
with,
that's
though.
but that's what I'm saying. But it's nice to hear that he was like, I'm telling you, they're trying to run it back a little
Oh,
bit.
for sure. You
in
want
terms of-
experience.
you want people to be like. I guess my bigger point is the buy-in.
That's
Like,
got to be your
you're
number
getting-
18, right?
Wait, what?
He has to be
I would
number
imagine
18.
he's
Yeah,
been number 18.
That's what I said.
Early candidate in my book, yeah.
I mean, I don't think.
I don't know
there's
who
really-
else you would give it to.
You're not going to. Kayshawn ain't changing numbers again. You know what I mean?
No.
18 doesn't look as good as on the receivers as 7
Hey,
does.
if he changed numbers again, would he have to buy those old jerseys? The rest of the jerseys?
like the NFL? Like the NFL?
You think you would change back to 1?
Nah.
Nah.
No,
He's staying
he's
7.
7. This is
Staying
this is
7.
the
He's
whole
7.
point.
Yeah, stay inside.
Lines
He
up
wants to have a 7-year.
lines up perfectly to give it to Perk when Perk's a junior.
Mm-hmm.
It does.
7 as a linebacker would be sick.
That's how it started.
We
Right?
had some good 7s at line. as
Well,
linebackers
that's not
here.
how like the tradition started, but
Was it
they had a
Trev
pretty
Falk?
good
Is he
linebacker.
a line?
at number
Trev
7.
Falk, Ali Highsmith.
Yep.
Had some good ones here
Yep.
at number 7. And that was all before the 7 tradition, too.
Nobody looked better than Pat P.
Pat P
Ward
looked
well.
good. Tyron looked good.
I know that's what I was having
Leonard
a
looked
mental
good.
debate. No, but I feel like Pat just filled it out the way like
DJ Ward well, too.
Herbie all
Who's
uniform
that?
team.
DJ.
DJ did wear it well.
Who?
DJ Chark.
Damn, Lloyd.
Oh,
Boy.
it's like that.
Big
Damn.
LSU
Not
fan.
DJ Walter.
Damn, Lloyd.
I mean, why you gotta throw a shot at DJ Welter?
That's not his fault. It's Chief's fault.
All right, we're gonna take a little 30-second break. We're gonna regroup. We're gonna catch our breath. We've gone for about an hour and 10 minutes straight. So
That's how you know it's a good show.
let's take a little break. You're watching Mik'd Up, brought to you by Sterling Automotive. Connor Griffin is coming on the show in 22 minutes. We'll be back in
Oh, he's in. He's been here for 20 minutes.
30
actually.
seconds. You're lying, right?
Yeah.
Okay. You're watching Mik'd Up, brought to you by Sterling Automotive.
And it's your partners. And Uncle Earl's. And
Eh.
Lloyd has a phobia actually going into the breaks. If I, don't know if you
I know.
noticed.
And ending the show.
You're welcome.
Today's show is brought to you by Dos Equis. Here in Louisiana, we like to have a great time. If you're looking to be the life of the tailgate, check out Dos Equis mini kegs. Hold 16 beers, easy to tap, easy to pour, easy to chill. Check it out. Become a life of the party. You're welcome. Hey y'all, it's Mikey from Miked Up. I want to talk a little bit about my friends down at Sterling Automotive in Lafayette. They're locally owned and operated for over 25 years. They have 13 locations, 4 in Opelousas, 5 in Lafayette, 1 in Broussard, 2 in Jennings, 1 in Crowley. They sell any type of car you could possibly find: Buicks, GMC, Ford, Lincoln, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, Hyundai, Genesis, and Kia, along with 5 pre-owned locations. They have over 1,500 cars in inventory on site. Unbelievable service, unbelievable people. If you're like me and you're on the go, they can sell and they can ship you cars up to 200 miles. Unbelievably convenient. Again, my friends down at Sterling Automotive in Lafayette, go to their website at saveatsterling.com. Awesome people, go check them out. Our What's for Lunch segment is brought to you by Doe's Eat Place. Maybe the best burger in town. If you're not looking for lunch, you're looking for dinner, go check out Doe's Eat Place. They have unbelievable choice of meats. They have unbelievable tamales. They have a great atmosphere, great vibes. If you're looking for a homey Louisiana type of atmosphere, but you're looking for high quality food, Doe's Eat Place is your spot. Go in the back bar, sit at the bar, have a couple drinks, watch some games, enjoy the atmosphere, enjoy the vibes. Check out Doe's Eat Place, the best place in Baton Rouge to get your meats. Welcome back to Mik'd Up. We're brought to you by Sterling Automotive. You forgot to tell me that I was on? Is that what happened? We have about 18 minutes until Connor joins the show.
If you want to know what kind of person he has already joined and made sure the link worked. So he's in. It says call Connor Griffin, but he's just waiting for his time.
Perfect.
Wow,
Perfect.
what a guy.
Very punctual. He makes sure everything's set up right. I enjoy that.
I can't promise it'll work.
But that is going to be our transition into baseball talk, right? Obviously, college baseball is. We love college baseball. We're going to talk to him about college baseball. But I also want to talk to him about a little bit about Major League Baseball. Not necessarily what he's going to do. Obviously, he's going to have the opportunity to possibly forego college. He reclassified. He actually was a freshman last year, and now he's a junior. So he basically missed his sophomore season. Didn't miss it, just skipped it.
Jumped over it.
Yeah, jumped over it. So he's going from a 2025 recruit to a 2024 recruit.
Is this a new thing that happens? Because
Yeah, it's been more in recent years.
Yeah, more, but it's the thing. Like, I don't know when his birthday is. I don't know if he's an older kid for his class.
Well, it used to go the other way, right? Wherever you would hold yourself back to be able to play, like,
I think people still are doing that too.
Yeah, it just depends on.
and then you reclassify.
Yeah. Like
Like
Josh
Curtis was-
Pearson did it at West Monroe. He
Bryce
skipped
Harper
his
did it to
sophomore
go get drafted 1 overall a year before he should have.
I think the younger
Oh.
Pearson brother did the same thing. It's I've seen it more in terms of the Louisiana guys in recent years where they reclassify. Most of them do it early though, where like they'll skip their sophomore year. Like they don't decide to do it their junior year or something like that. Yeah.
Jack.
Which one?
Besh.
What?
No go tonight.
Was he at Avatar?
Because the movie's
Well, they're not
4
gonna be-
hours long.
They're not going to get out of there until 8:30.
I told you. Yeah, that's what I said.
So by the time they get out, get home, it's just going to
I
be.
mean, we could stay and film and record it.
We'll see. We'll play it by ear. Go ahead. What you're saying? Sorry, I'm going to cut you off.
It's become more of a recent thing where these guys, when they finish their freshman year, if they're highly touted, they reclassify to either skip a year of high school and go to college, like Josh Pearson and his younger brother are doing, or maybe in Connor's case, get to the draft quicker.
Well, I think for him is to get to the draft quicker. Obviously, if you've seen him, or if you haven't seen him, he's a big kid. Like
It's freakish.
he's 6'4", like he's put together. He's a big kid. He's a very physical kid. He's a mature kid. He obviously has all the abilities in the world. So like, baseball is one of the sports. I feel like baseball and basketball are one of the two sports that you can say, okay, you can kind of you can move up and you can be a year younger than you should be. Football, you need a little bit more seasoning. You need to like be a little more physical.
Well, marinating.
Yeah.
If you're LSU quarterback commit Colin Hurley, then you can say, screw it. I'm good enough to do it. Because he reclassified when he committed.
Yeah, but that's another thing. He could be older. I don't know what his
15.
He's 15, but when is he turning 16?
I don't know. He started at quarterback as an 8th grader and 9th
Right.
grader, and now he's going to in 10th grade. So I guess he's going to skip his
sophomore year.
Yeah, and be able to classify. But he is polished and ready. Like
Right.
I think
It's more rare in football, like what you're saying.
Yeah.
But since we're speaking of him real quick, you know what I don't like seeing nowadays about quarterbacks? Like, that kid's got a lot of game tape, obviously, because he's played in 2 high school seasons already. Can we get some like game film with him and stop showing me 7-on-7s, man? I don't really care what he
Yeah,
does.
right.
7-on-7.
Show me the game.
With no like uniform.
He's got game tape.
No,
He's not talking
No,
about him
I'm not
specifically.
talking about
okay,
you.
okay.
I'm just saying like that's the stuff that's put out
Relax,
there. Like,
don't get
I
defended.
would have to go. Why?
He's
like,
not talking about Colin. He's talking about high school
I'm
kids
not talking
in general.
about him. I'm talking about when people like put out these videos of him right now. You don't really see the game tape videos. I got to go search for that. I got to go find it on the recruiting portals and stuff like that. Maybe there's a copyright thing, and I don't really know. My thing is that, dude, these days, like, every quarterback looks good damn near in 7-on-7. I don't really want to see 7-on-7 anymore. Like, I don't really care to see that anymore.
I got 10 seconds back there.
They can do what they want.
Yeah.
Well, not 10. 'cause
They have a count.
Yeah, they have a count.
Nobody's breathing on their neck. Nobody's chasing them.
Yeah, you're not throwing it with the hands up in the
Yeah,
face.
you're real comfortable back there. That's all.
Yeah, Mikey knows it after playing flag football quarterback.
What?
Gets on you quick.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it was hard for Mikey to see over the line when he played real quarterback. Too. He was down
Because
there.
my fucking
He was down
ass
there.
was, hey, great ankle
Damn, you're taking
flexibility.
a knee.
Great ankle flexibility. I had good flexion there.
I'm just if that foot got stepped on, there's no shot you was recover.
I got out of that though. I always got out of that.
We're gonna have to talk to Leger about that. I'm gonna blame that on him.
So we're talking baseball, right? Talking baseball and getting ready for Connor. Talking a little bit MLB. There's been a lot of money spent in Major League Baseball this offseason. A lot, right? Your boy Dansby Swanson, which I don't think the Braves pay their guys because Dansby's from Atlanta. I'm assuming that he probably would have signed there for maybe take a little bit of a discount. I don't know, but I would imagine that that's a place that he would want to be. They don't sign him. He signs a 7-year, $177 million deal. Outrageous. I mean, that's a lot of money. He had a great year last year.
Did you go to the
But I
Cubs?
think that's a little.
They're
much.
throwing a lot. What's that?
Where'd he go?
Chicago.
Cubs.
The Cubs.
But what I really want to focus on is
Well, his wife's in Chicago. That's where she plays.
That's
Okay.
what the Ricketts
helps.
care about.
but you have a lot of
Let
guys.
Wilson Contreras go to the Cardinals.
What?
Wilson Contreras, the catcher for the Cubs.
Yeah, I know.
You just let him walk to the Cardinals, and then you sign Dansby Swanson for how much money?
177.
I thought that was overpaying him.
I mean, Dansby's had a good
Oh,
year,
shit.
but
like if Atlanta paid him that,
you had
I'd be like,
you've in the past teams were very hesitant on giving guys big deals later on in their career, right? Because they didn't want to get in the situation where they were with Pujols, right? Where they're on the back end of their career and they're a fraction of the player they were, but they're getting paid, $35 million a year. Miguel Cabrera was one of those guys. It happens. There's a lot of guys that happens too, right? Back into their career, they're getting paid, but they're not performing. So there's a lot of talk in the within the owners that, we don't want to do this anymore. We'd rather give shorter deals, high annual salaries, so that we don't get caught in that situation. Well, that was what there was a big bargaining. That's what they were talking about during the CBA. They signed the CBA. Now you're seeing 10, 11, 12, 13-year deals to the guys. Xander Bogaerts signed an 11-year, $280 million deal. The last year of his deal, you know how old he's going to be?
42.
41 years old. As a shortstop. Like, I'm glad he got it. I like Xander. I think he's a great player. Boy, at 41 years old, that's a lot. You can't just put him at DH. He's not a guy that's going to be like, it's like Judge, where at the end of his career, you say, you can be a DH and still get a bunch of.
Xander's just gonna slide the third. That's all. That's their move. It's positionless now.
I mean, still, though, 41. Though.
I'm with you. I'm just how they look at it as it doesn't matter. He can slide the third. He'll play there. They don't. If the bat's still there.
Crazy. There's a lot of money being turned around. Red Sox are losing a bunch of guys. They go ahead and sign Justin Turner. I mean, Justin Turner might be in the back end but I think he's going to crush it there, actually.
With
the wall
there. Yeah.
With the wall.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's crazy too how much money's being thrown around in the sense of like Are you really telling me that you truly think, and I get it, the year's a little different, but do you truly think Xander's $100 million better than Dansby?
Right.
$100 million better than Dansby?
I think he's had a longer track record.
No, I agree. That's my point. My point is like we look at Dansby like, damn, they gave him a lot, but the AAV's like 25 a year. Like that's not
the Brandon Nimmo trade to me. I mean, the Brandon Nimmo contract to me is like I think he's a very good player. His on base percentage is very good. WAR loves him.
I just don't ever remember seeing him playing like 150, much less 160.
He's had 2 years where he's had over 400 at bats.
There you go. 2
years.
That's why it's like whoa.
And this year was a good year at 825 OPS, which is
good,
above average. Yeah. That's a very good OPS. Is it $160 million good? I don't know. I don't think so.
Like you said, for me, it's not even about that. For me, when I look at him, because he's had a large sample size too, it's man, we giving $160 million to someone I haven't really seen have 500 at bats yet.
Yeah,
that's tough to do.
Tough to do.
At the end of the day, I guess if that's where he's at, somebody was going to do it.
I just think the money in baseball is that absurd.
It's hard to get there, though.
I know. That's what I'm saying. No. I want everybody. Everybody should get their flowers if you can make it through that whole thing.
It's hard to get there.
It's hard to get there.
Always hard to get there.
So it's like I know y'all are on the player side, obviously, but it's just like when you see the numbers and you hear the name, you're like, I don't even know who the fuck that is. Like I knew 2 of the 3 names.
Well, there's a lot of guys like the new you're getting a lot of younger guys that are getting to that point of getting the money. So if you don't follow baseball all that closely, they may go a little bit unnoticed. But money's being thrown around. The CBA is done for the next 5 years, so this is gonna happen probably for the next 3 or 4.
Was this a good CBA for the players?
It was good. I mean, they got some things.
It was good. You're never going to get everything you want.
They got some things. Right. They raised the minimum, which is one of the bigger things they wanted to do. They got the draft lottery now, which is a big thing. Where just because you're the worst team doesn't mean that you're going to get the first pick, kind of like the NBA.
Gave the Pirates Dylan Cruz.
Pirates, if they have the first pick, they do have the first pick. They have the chance to get Dylan Cruz. So now they were the worst team in baseball. So
they've been the worst team in baseball.
They've been the least paying team in baseball.
I mean, Dylan Cruz is going to be in the big leagues in like 2 years. A year, 2 years after he signs.
I was going to say, if he signs and goes there, he'll be in the big leagues like that.
And I mean, dude, him and Brian.
Well, no, they can arbitrate him too, right? Like, once you do what you do with Chris Bryant, where you kind of.
No, that's.
I mean, Chris Bryant still made it up that year. He just didn't come up. He came up 2 weeks and a day later.
That kind of, I don't remember exactly the fine print of it, but that kind of got fixed in the CBA too, to where teams are not incentivized to do the whole hold you back because they get the extra year and stuff out of you.
That was kind of fucked.
That was, but
that's been a thing forever, which has always been pretty shitty, but that's been a thing.
I don't know. It's
I just don't want to see him go.
Once the CBA gets close to the CBA, like once it's the 4th year and they have one more year, you're gonna start seeing owners start to try to do stuff to try and
shift the power,
prove their points, right? And so you can't tell me they don't collude, because I think collusion's a thing in baseball within the owners.
I think it's in every ownership.
It's in every ownership, but it's illegal.
32 white
you
guys
just can't prove it.
Oh, I bet I can.
Unless you're Dan Snyder and put everything in email. Speaking of,
I fire you up.
Because did you not watch the game last night?
No.
Did you watch the game last night?
The last 2 plays of the game were.
You've got to be.
If I was a conspiracy theorist, like a strong conspiracy theorist, I'd never watch the NFL again.
The Commanders should have scored a touchdown twice. The last play of the game, right, or last drive of the game to tie the game, and they score a touchdown. And they call it a offensive pass interference, but it wasn't a pick play. Like the receivers didn't run into each other. The other receiver.
Oh no, that was the 2-point conversion play. The pick play that they called.
I thought that was a touchdown.
That was the drive before.
I thought that they scored a touchdown and called a touchdown back whenever then they had the delay of game, or then they had the. No.
I was to say Jared usually. I mean, he watched.
No, you're right. It was a 2-point conversion.
Well, I watched this on the drive back.
When they scored the touchdown, it was because Terry McLaurin was off the line of scrimmage, and he asked the referee twice if he was on, and the ref said first time said get up, He moved up, pointed, referee gave him a thumbs up. They run the play, score a touchdown, call legal formation on Terry McLaurin.
And I'm talking like as soon as the ball's hiked,
Yeah.
flag goes
His
straight
hand
up.
was on it before the snap.
That's what it was. They scored a touchdown that
And
play.
then the next play right
pass
after that,
interference was-
they had a
Oh,
pass interference in the end zone. I'm talking,
Like where
the
the
guy
guy was
got
on top of
mauled.
him.
Yeah, he got mauled. They didn't even call it.
And so my
I
whole
bet the Giants. That's what I don't care about.
my whole point is, unless you're
It
Dan
was-
Snyder and you're starting to out the other owners, listen, I think
The NFL's out to get him.
no doubt.
Our boy's here.
No doubt. Okay, perfect.
That PI was bad.
That was a bad pass interference call.
That was almost just as bad as the ref giving him the thumbs up and then throwing the flag on.
All right,
Yeah,
we're gonna take
both of them are bad.
we're gonna take a little 30-second break, get him situated. Connor is on the he's in the dugout,
He is.
so we're gonna get him situated. And you're watching Miked Up, brought to you by Sterling
Rocking a little
Automotive.
gold chain.
Lloyd always has a comment about something they're wearing in the chat.
Stop biting your lip, dude. Just
Me. Love is love.
love is love.
Today's show is brought to you by Dos Equis. Here in Louisiana, we like to have a great time. If you're looking to be the life of the tailgate, check out Dos Equis mini kegs. Hold 16 beers, easy to tap, easy to pour, easy to chill. Check it out.
Awesome.
Become a life of the party. You're welcome. Hey y'all, it's Mikey from Miked Up. I want to talk a little bit about my friends down at Sterling Automotive in Lafayette. They're locally owned and operated for over 25 years. They have 13 locations, 4 in Opelousas, 5 in Lafayette, 1 in Broussard, 2 in Jennings, 1 in Crowley. They sell any type of car you could possibly find: Buicks, GMC, Ford, Lincoln, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, Hyundai, Genesis, and Kia, along with 5 pre-owned locations. They have over 1,500 cars in inventory on site. Unbelievable service, unbelievable people. If you're like me and you're on the go, they can sell and they can ship you cars up to 200 miles. Unbelievably convenient. Again, my friends down at Sterling Automotive in Lafayette, go to their website at saveatsterling.com. Awesome people, go check them out. Welcome back to Miked Up. We're brought to you by Sterling Automotive. We've been talking about it. We've been introducing it. Our next guest is the number 2 overall player in the class of 2024. He was the class of 2025, but he's so good that he said, I'm going to skip a year. I'm going to get to school early. Connor Griffin from Jackson Prep in Mississippi. Connor, thanks for coming on the show, man.
Yeah, I appreciate y'all guys having me on.
No problem, bro. All right, let's jump right into it, man. You were a 2025 prospect recruit, number one recruit in that class. You reclassified to the 2024 class. One, I wasn't good enough when I was coming to high school to ever think about doing that. So how does that work? And 2, what was part of the reasoning on why you did that?
Yeah, so I had to take some more classes this summer to get ahead, and that opened up some spots for me to take 11th grade classes as well. And so this year in school, I'm combining with like 11th and 10th grade classes. So schoolwork has been kind of tough this year, but it's what I want to do, and it's just helping me get me to where I want to be one day, and that's an MLB. So that's just one more step to take that risk of going towards that goal. And the reason I did it was it helps me become a junior, which allows me to go on my college visits. And so I was able to take my 5 visits and get that decision out of the way where I wanted to go to college, and came down to LSU. And I'm really pumped to to be committed to LSU, and I'm ready to get in Baton Rouge and do some big things.
Let's get to the college decision. Obviously, being as highly touted as you are, you just said you went on all 5 of your visits. LSU ended up winning your commitment. This is where you want to be. What went into that decision? Why LSU? I know you're from Mississippi, so you're not far from Baton Rouge. But why did you decide to come here? And what kind of made your decision? What kind of made your mind up?
So when Jay Johnson got to LSU, he instantly started recruiting me, and we just had a really good relationship over about a year or so. And so when I had the chance to take my 5 visits, I took mine to LSU and had an awesome weekend. Got to see the Alabama LSU football game.
That's a good one.
Got to
That's
see
a good one.
Oh.
Got to see a crazy atmosphere. The fans, they're all for it. Football, baseball, basketball. I can already tell. Like, I got that feeling that the fans are for the sports there, and I kind of felt at home. I know Jay Johnson has a great track record of getting baseball players to the MLB, and that's my goal one day. And I feel like if I come to LSU, that's where I will be developed into the player that I want to be. So that kind of made the decision pretty easy. Being
from Mississippi and being so close to Louisiana, was LSU always somewhere where you wanted to go? Did you grow up an LSU fan, or did it just kind of happen as over the course of your development as a baseball player?
Yeah, so it kind of developed over like the recruiting process. It's only about 2 hours and 15 minutes from where I live,
right.
So it's always been one of the top 3 schools that I've been looking at, and just making this decision, I decided to go away from Ole Miss, Mississippi State, which I'm right in the middle of those 2 schools. So that could have been a hard decision, but I'm ready to come to Louisiana.
Were those the biggest challengers to LSU? Were those the other ones on like the other top ones on the list, Mississippi State and Ole Miss?
Yeah, those are the top 3, LSU, Ole Miss, State.
So I'm glad you brought it up then.
Wait,
so,
hold on. How much shit did you catch so far for making that decision about coming to LSU?
Not much. Everybody's been supportive. I got great people around me, so everybody's loved my commitment, and they're going to support me wherever I go.
Well, I'm glad you brought it up. So as the summer goes on and you watch Ole Miss win a natty, how much did that maybe sway you? Did that maybe rethink of what you were able to kind of put in the bottle here as you visited here in November, before you visited here in November? How much did that, watching that and where that program is, kind of go into what may have been a change, which obviously wasn't a change, but into your decision?
Yeah, so I mean, they're a great program. Obviously, they won a national championship, and they have the players there and the coaches that can develop players as well. And that kind of made it hard because LSU, you got a great program over here, and then you got a great program here in Mississippi. So that kind of made it tough. I was Ole Miss. I've grown up an Ole Miss fan, so in my heart, I was an Ole Miss fan, but I knew that LSU was the place for me. Like when I took that visit, everything kind of just changed, and I felt at home when I came to LSU. So just had to go where my heart went, and my heart changed over to LSU. So that's why I made it.
I'm glad. Listen, we're glad you're here. We're glad you chose LSU.
Yeah.
We both played at LSU, so we can tell you firsthand that it's a very, very fun experience, especially if you can bring back a championship here. But when you're in high school, right? Obviously, right now you're a dual. I don't want to say sport, but you're a dual baseball player, right? You're a pitcher and you're a hitter. You play shortstop because of need, but I think you're projected more as an outfielder. That's kind of what people are talking about. But you also are really good on the mound. Did that go into your decision to come to college? Are you going to do both, or try to do both, or are you going to decide on one or the other?
I'm gonna continue to do both throughout high school, and then when I get to college, I'm gonna talk with Coach West and just see what he thinks about it. Because
what do you like more?
He definitely play in the field.
Yeah.
So you like the big homer as over the big strikeout?
You like the big homer over the big strikeout? Yeah, no doubt. I feel you.
Of course. Yeah, so I've always just pitched just because I've kind of thrown hard over the years, and they just needed me to pitch. So I'd say I'm gonna go to college to focus on my hitting and developing as an outfielder and just focus on that, but always keep pitching just in case I need to fall back on it.
Obviously, Major League Baseball is your ultimate goal, right? I think if you're a high-level baseball player, that's where you want to end up being. LSU, if you end up coming to LSU, that's a stepping stone to continue to grow and become the player that you need to be to get to Major League level. How much has, that goal of getting to the Major Leagues driven you to become the player that you are, one? And two, do you think that, obviously you don't know what's going to happen, you don't know what the future is going to hold, but, being as highly rated as you are, bypassing college is a very, very, real possibility. And how much thought have you given to that? Obviously, you're still a couple years away, but it's got to cross your mind a little bit.
Yeah, it does. It does for sure. And going to the MLB out of high school and getting drafted, that's a pretty big thing. And right now, my main goal is after high school is going to college because nothing is guaranteed. Nothing is guaranteed with the draft and all that. Because I still have 2 years before that happens. Yeah. So right now, my main goal is getting to college and trying to win some championships for LSU. And if the draft stuff comes, then I'm gonna have a really tough decision. But right now, I'm all in on coming down to Baton Rouge.
So, obviously you're a big baseball fan. It's pretty obvious to tell through the things you're saying, not just obviously you're good at the sport. Who are some guys that you actually model your game after or that you've looked at as like, man, I'd like to be able to do things the way he does it?
So my biggest person that I look at is probably Ronald Acuna with the Braves.
Nice. Okay.
I love the energy that he brings to the game, and just being such a young player, it just it shows me that young guys can make it to the big leagues fast, and just the way he plays the game and the energy that he brings, and he just always plays he always plays the game like it's a kid's game, and that's kind of what I want to do every time I step on the field.
Love that. So we spoke to your dad a little bit. I did some research on you, believe it or not. We do some research on the show. And I was reading some articles, and your dad has been the head softball coach at Belhaven University for I think over 10 years. So you kind of grew up around that. You're around the program. You saw softball. He made a joke in one of the articles I read that he had to teach you how to throw the ball overhand because all you saw was underhand.
Yeah.
My question to you, right, is I have faced a pretty high-level softball pitcher, right, that kind of had a little juice behind it, underneath. Have you done that? Have you faced somebody? And if you have, how hard is that? Because if you've seen the video of Jenny Finch and Albert Pujols, Albert Pujols had no shot, right? It's pretty difficult.
Yeah. It is, but I've never faced a pitcher of his, so I can't tell you what it's like because he won't let me go out there and face one of his girls. But it's on my bucket list. I want to do it one day, so hopefully soon I can try to face one of those girls.
Bring it back to LSU a little bit. Obviously, you're excited to come here. We're excited to have you here. I know Jay's excited. What Jay's been doing in Baton Rouge since he's gotten here 2 years ago, and he's kind of established and he's built a team that seems like they are poised to make a deep run in Omaha and win the World Series, and they have 5-6 potential first rounders on the team. What are some of the conversations Jay had with you and his vision for you and the vision for the program moving forward?
Right. So right now, the team is kind of old, and after this year and next year, they're going to be losing a lot of their main guys. And you also have the class of 2023 coming in. They got some really good players, and because Coach Johnson thinks the class of 24 that's coming in is going to be a really, really good class coming in because a lot of spots are going to need to be filled. And so he has a pretty big vision of what he's going to do, and he wants me in the outfield, and I don't even care where in the outfield. I just playing as a freshman would be huge. So he said that's a big possibility, and I'm gonna be working hard and be ready for that moment because that's a pretty big spot for a freshman. So
no doubt
I'll be looking for it for sure.
Coming to LSU and playing in college, right? A lot of guys have different perspectives on that, right? A lot of guys say, "Oh, I really just want to get to the big leagues. I want to get drafted. I want to go." Right? I came to college. The value that I have coming to college baseball and understanding myself and developing and learning, like I put a higher value on college than some other guys, right? There's a lot of guys I played with that thought differently than I did, but over the last 2 or 3 years, you've seen a lot of guys bypass the draft. Dylan Cruz took his name out the draft, said, "I'm going to come to school. I'm gonna take the chance of going to LSU. I'm going to develop my game," even though he was probably a first rounder out of high school, and he's probably going to go 1 overall, double probably the signing bonus that he was asking for. You saw it with Alex Bregman. You saw it with Kevin Gosman when I was here, with DJ LeMahieu. Seeing all these guys turn down the draft and basically say, "Listen, I could be a high round pick, but I'm going to go to college," and then go to LSU and develop even more and be even a higher pick than they would have been. Is that weighing on your mind? Is that kind of in the back of your mind saying, "You know what, like if these guys can do it, I can do it, and I can kind of grow as a player and kind of learn a little bit more about myself being away from home"?
Yeah, for sure. If you were to get drafted and coming straight out of high school, you're gonna have to learn to live on your own pretty fast, and you're not gonna have the strength coach like you would at college, and the nutrition stuff that you're gonna have at college. Like there's tons of benefits of going to college, and you'll learn how to be away from your family in 4 years, but also have some of the best strength coaches in the country, and be on a great meal plan for 3 years, and really just develop as a player. So there's a huge benefit of looking into going to college, just because of all the stuff that's given to you, and that can help you develop into the player that you want to be, rather than trying to figure all that out on your own and paying for all the meals and stuff while you're in the minor leagues. Like that could be huge.
I think Mikey hit on this a little bit, but I'm wondering what the recruiting pitch was whenever you go into an office with Jay Johnson, and how he was able to get you to recruit. Like, obviously you're skilled enough to be able to go to the Major League Baseball draft, and that's going to be something that weighs on your mind. But what was something that he sold you that made you feel like, oh, okay, I'm ready to commit?
I'd probably say his track record of the outfielders he's gotten to the big leagues. He's had many outfielders that he got developed through not just at LSU, but other schools that he's coached at. He's had a great track record of getting those guys to the big leagues and developing hitters like he does. I just feel like if I worked with him every single day, that he got me in the right direction, and that's kind of what brought me to commit to LSU.
Although it was softball, how much is growing up in a college clubhouse locker room kind of helped your mindset and kind of molded you to kind of be wise beyond your years? Because it's very obvious to tell you're a pretty smart kid.
Right. Yeah, so growing up, with my dad being a college coach, he's really just guided me through this whole recruiting process, because a lot of kids these days take it really fast and they commit like 8th grade, 9th grade. And my dad, he's dealt with a bunch of recruits, so he just wanted me to take my time with it and just experience like my 5 visits that I went on. He wanted me to enjoy that process, and just you learn more and more about those places when you step on campus and hang out with the coaches for a few days. And like I said, taking my visit to LSU kind of changed how I felt about it, and seeing the atmosphere and seeing other games and stuff like that. It's really helped me. So I'd say just being around my dad and his college experience, or being a college coach, like he's helped me a ton, and also just seeing how hard his softball girls, how hard they work every day, and seeing what the college grind is like, it's kind of motivated me to want to work hard every day, honestly.
You mentioned obviously that you took all 5 of your official visits. What about LSU stood out outside of Jay Johnson? What about LSU made you kind of want to obviously be the difference maker whenever you made your choice to commit, because you put out a fire video?
And what other what other visits you take? Obviously,
what other?
State.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So I went to Ole Miss, Mississippi State, Auburn, and Texas A&M, along with LSU.
So obviously going to be in the SEC. There was no doubt about that. Okay.
Right. SEC to me is where the best baseball is, the best conference. So I could really see how much the fan base at LSU just supports their athletes, and I really feel like coming to LSU, I feel like I have a really good support system behind me, and the baseball program, like they obviously have tons of fans. Like I went to an inter-squad game between LSU and LSU. And the whole bottom section of the stadium was filled with fans, and I couldn't even imagine like an SEC series. So, I just really that's a big thing for me is just playing for the fans, and I really feel like that's what set everywhere else apart.
You're talking to two guys, me not included. I'm talking about Mikey and Jared. They're the last two to win a national championship for LSU. Do you have any questions for them as what it's like in the atmosphere?
Yeah, I'd love to hear like what it's like winning a national championship, and did all the fans like travel with you guys like that?
So when you go, I will tell you this: when you make it to Omaha, you are playing at home. So you have home field advantage. You have a lot of LSU fans travel very well. And there's a lot of Nebraska fans that are LSU fans that live in Omaha because LSU's been there so many times. They've embraced the culture up there in Omaha, and so when you go, you feel like you're playing a home game. And obviously, when you're down here, it's a little bit more crazy. It's a little bit more hectic. People are on top of you, and they do a really good job of supporting you, man. If you go out there and you play the right way and you play hard and you kind of do the things that you're supposed to do and you embrace the atmosphere, they're gonna embrace you and they're gonna love you and they're gonna root for you, man. That always makes it a little bit easier. What you got, Jay?
I'd say inside the stadium, it's an intelligent fan base. They know baseball well. So like you said, you play hard, you play with passion. You can ingratiate yourself with this community really, really, really easily. They come out, they will support you. It's a great experience, and it's something that I really hope you get a chance to experience.
Yeah, the beauty of LSU is, even though it's college, you kind of get a professional feel to it. You have a ton of media that follows you. You learn how to speak to the media. You learn how to handle yourself in front of big crowds, and it's not like that a lot of other places because, you have, whether you're playing in, you're in Nashville, if you're playing in Vanderbilt, you have other things to do. This is really the professional baseball team in Louisiana, really, and you kind of feel that and you see that. So my advice to you would just be out there, be yourself, go out there and have fun. If you show that you genuinely have fun playing the game of baseball and you play hard, they're going to love you, man. So I don't think you're going to have any issue with that. I appreciate you coming on the show. I appreciate you taking your time out of your night. I know you're probably busy. You're studying. Basically, you're taking two grades worth of classes right now. So
right.
Kudos to you. I don't know if I could have done that in high school. So, man, best of luck these next couple years. We'll be following you and looking forward to seeing wherever the future takes you.
Yeah, on campus in Baton Rouge.
Hopefully on campus.
Yeah, see you on campus, man. No, I'm kidding, man. I hope honestly, I hope whatever is best for you is the decision that you make, and good luck with everything. Like you said, we'll be following you, but we would not be mad if you made it here.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you guys for having me on, and like I said, my main goal after high school is getting to LSU. So that's the plan right now, and hopefully that works out, and like always, go Tigers.
Go Tigers.
There we go. You've been trained well, baby.
Hey, good luck, bro, and thanks for coming on.
Yeah, of course.
Thank
you guys.
All right, see you.
So, groomed for this, obviously.
That kid.
Very well spoken, understands what he should say, what he should not
A lot of
say.
poise.
Very
A lot of poise.
Big fucking kid.
Yeah, how old is
He looks big on TV. I mean, on camera. We literally just had a neck up shot.
He's supposed to be a sophomore in high school.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
He's supposed to be a sophomore.
This is going to a sophomore year, but he's really going to be a junior. So he's supposed to be a sophomore. So maybe he's 16. He may have just turned 16, depending on when his
Not even
birthday is.
driving?
I mean, maybe. I don't know when his birthday is. My birthday is November 30th, so I was 16 November 30th of my sophomore year, but I don't know when his birthday is.
God, I was 16 in my senior year.
Yeah.
Is that true?
Yeah.
He's 2 years older than me in school, one in actual age.
If I was 16 right now, if we rewinded, I was 16 right now. Well, I wouldn't be because I'd be 2 years. I mean, I'd be 2 months post birthday, turning 17. But I was 16 in my senior year of high school.
Do you think that helped with like draftability?
Well,
You were like not
when you
just
get
not.
drafted,
you blow my mind, dude.
when you get drafted like that,
He's
you're
like,
that
I was a
young.
top 100 player. I didn't even know that. And it's like, what are you doing?
That's good. That's probably the best way to be.
I know. I mean, I would be flippant too, but it just feels like somebody would have been like, hey.
Well, when you're
When
that
you're
young,
in it, you're just in it too, kind of,
Right,
man. You
right.
know?
It feels like you were.
Well, yeah, I was. I didn't know what the hell was going on outside of
Right.
it.
when you're that young and you're playing, especially baseball in the baseball world, when you're that young, you have technically more leverage in the sense because you have
Time.
You have
Yeah.
more time. Like you're gonna be
Yeah.
very young for a junior. You really should be a sophomore. You know, you have the ability to say, oh, hey, you know what? Like, yeah, you can draft me after my junior year, but like I'm only 21. I'm only 20 after my junior. Now, if you're 21 after your sophomore year, you technically have more leverage as well because you have 2 years to negotiate out of college. But I think they'd rather the younger guy over the older.
I think from experience or just kind of seeing this thing whole and like seeing how it goes through, I think the being super young when you're drafted really only becomes like real, I guess, leverage in the sense of if the career literally has like no bumps, because that's really all you're looking for, right? Is to be able to get to the major leagues, to arbitration, to that second contract at a younger age, really. So like it's the projectability of you doing that and never really having any kind of bumps, and so you just kind of fly through everything.
Do you think there's starting to be more merit in not going to the league early?
Some guys are doing it. I think it's a preference. I think that, and I've talked about this before. I think my experience in college, like I wasn't ready mentally to go to play professional baseball out of high school. Like physically, I could have figured it out, right? Like physically, I was bigger, I was fast. Like I was,
Actually ran a 4.4.
like I actually did run a 4.4, 4.4 actually, not 4.4 flat, but I wasn't physically. I was ready, but I wasn't mentally ready. I had to learn. I had a lot to learn about on the baseball field. I had a lot to learn about failure. I wasn't polished, so I needed to go to college. And by being in college, we got to win the World Series. I met some of the best friends of my life. I got to grow as a man, but I also got to grow as a baseball player. And I valued, monetarily, if I had to put a monetary value on my experience in college, I probably would value it at like $3 million, $2.5, $3 million, and like that's what it would have taken me. Now going back, that was what it would take me to leave, like to skip out on college.
I don't know now if I would say there's more merit to it, but I do think we're looking at an age of baseball, especially with analytics, especially with kind of how some things have changed, to where guys are getting to the big leagues a lot quicker than they did when him and I were coming up. So with that being said, I think they push guys through the system a lot quicker. Like we see a lot more guys that are not necessarily having a ton of success, but they're up in the big leagues soon after, even though they haven't killed it in minor leagues, which was not so much a thing when we were coming up. So with that being said, I think it's these kids now are starting to see that and are understanding like, well, all right, well, I can go to college. All right, I can stay in college one more year because I can still fly through the minor leagues, as opposed to having to be there for 5-6 years and kind of like put in all that time. I think it's changed a little bit in that sense.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think NIL has anything to do to change it. I think that it's just more about.
I think it.
I mean, a little bit.
A sense, in a sense of you if you're not. I think NIL has changed in the sense of you're not a surefire first, second, third rounder. I don't know what the numbers are, but there's a good chance you can come here and still, like a place like here, and be very good and still make a lot of money, but be a pro player, just maybe not the top round pick. You know?
I think it takes a lot of pressure off of you. Like it's like, okay, I feel much more comfortable here than I do than taking a chance to get drafted at some, like put my name in the draft, and it's kind of like I'd rather come back to school, but I don't know if I'm gonna. Baseball is such a finicky sport to where if I don't play well, then I'll lose the opportunity to where I would have been drafted higher, especially out of high school where they draft so much on potential. Then you go to college, get kind of the NIL thing, kind of bet on yourself a little bit, and it's like also have this fallback to where at least I made a little money.
Right.
Well, and here's the deal: if your ultimate goal is to get to the big leagues, right? Like, it
And
shouldn't
that was
be
clearly his goal.
and it shouldn't be about necessarily the money. Now, if you're the first overall pick or you're a top 10 pick and you're getting $5, $6, $7, $10 million a sign,
Right.
that's like
completely different money
that's-
from the rest of it. Yeah,
Look, that money's life changing. Like
Yeah.
you have the ability to go there, and you have every opportunity in the world to succeed. But if you're getting $1 million, which sounds like a lot, but at the end of the day, it's not enough to live your rest of your life on. $2 million, like. If it's just about the money, you're not in the game for the right reasons, right? Like you're gonna make your money in the big leagues. You're not gonna make your money in the draft. At least majority of the people are not gonna make their money just in the draft. They're gonna make their money in the back end in the big leagues.
Yeah.
And if you believe that you're not 100% bought in already, that's a shitty life, man. That's a tough, hard life in the minor leagues to go if you're not 100% bought in and sold on it. If you're not, come to LSU where you have the ability to grow and be a better player. Now, if you don't
But
play
not even
well,
a better player, yeah, but just
Even
the experience.
yeah. And if you don't play well in college, then you probably weren't like if you could perform well enough here, you're probably not good enough to make it to the big leagues at that time. So like, at least you know you've got 3 more years of big time competition to know like, hey, this is what I have to do to get better. I can lose some money in the draft.
with better resources.
and I'll say this to what he said too. Not even so much like. It doesn't matter how bought in you are. It is a life shock when it comes to going to the minor leagues, playing every day, on buses, bad clubhouses,
Bro, my
bad
first year in
food,
Pro Bowl
all that
after
stuff.
LSU was tough.
All that stuff. Like all those things combined it's a shock to you to go into pro ball and have
There's
to
no
do
way to
that every
prepare
day.
for it.
There's no preparation.
The only way you can prepare for it is if you had somebody in your family that has gone through it before.
Him and I have talked a lot over the past about like just when you play, especially baseball, like there's so many things that you do on a daily basis that when you're not playing the sport, it is like, how are we doing this every day? Like, I'm not trying to be funny, but you know how many times you sit in baseball and you're eating food right next to a naked man trying to change? Like, go find somewhere else where you're doing that.
Yeah.
That's not really a thing.
Right.
Culture thing.
I'm not saying like it's just there's so many life things that like you go there, you get on a 12-hour bus ride through the night, and they expect you to play the next day. Like, find me somewhere else you're doing.
Yeah, and
That's not a thing.
When you're lower level, sharing seats. Like
Yeah.
you go on 12-hour bus ride, you don't have your own row. You have
Like he could be every bit of 6'4" and go to rookie ball where he's the youngest one there, and he's sharing a seat with the dude through the night on an 8-hour bus ride, and he's got to play the next day.
With the language barrier, and you're trying to like
Find somewhere else
acclimate.
where that's
never
happening.
been never been outside of your house. I never lived on your own. Like it's tough, dude. That's a big thing.
It's
to
a
get
culture shock.
acclimated to.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like listen, he's been on the circuit. He's played very well. He's very good. I'm sure his dad's a college softball coach, so like I'm sure that he's been prepped for it. Like I'm sure he understands what goes into it. But unless you have somebody with firsthand experience in your family that you've seen and understand those types of things, it's really hard to prepare for it.
Yeah.
But you come here, you have the ability to feel like take that next step. I am away from home, but I'm also with my friends. It's not a business. I have the ability to adapt, and I have the
You
ability
still
to
get
grow.
to be somewhat of a kid.
Yep, exactly. And
know?
you get to learn
get
about
to
yourself.
acclimate.
Yeah, you get to learn about yourself too. Like, hey, dude, like this kid's probably never failed in baseball in his life, right? And then you get to LSU. At some point, you're gonna have to go through a stretch where you fail. Everybody did it. Alex Bregman did it. DJ LeMahieu got moved off a shortstop, and he moved to second base. That's never happened to him in his life. Like everybody goes through a stretch of time where you're like, damn.
I fucking suck.
And
Well, yeah,
and
what
there's
has
that
happened?
there's
What
that old
happened?
thing there's that old thing about pro ball too that people don't understand. Like say just like you said, like DJ gets moved off a shortstop. Well, DJ had whenever it happened, I guess if you want to call it, there was a whole week in a way, kind of where he got to wrap his brain around it, become part of it, and understand. All right, now I got to go play second base. That happens to this kid or anyone else in pro ball. You got to play again the next day.
Hey, dude, you
And
still
guess
have
what?
this in your life.
And guess what? If you're still pissed about it that way, and that game doesn't go well, you can play again the next day.
Yeah.
Like there's no breaks.
That's
Yeah.
a spiral.
There's no breaks.
and you have your life happens. Like stuff goes in like off the field. It has to goes onto the field sometimes. If you're not used to compartmentalizing and understand how to like that shit's hard, dude. It takes its toll on a lot of people, and that's why a lot of guys don't make it because they can't handle that. And there's some guys that are great in the minor leagues, can't make it in the big leagues because of something. Like, it's just there's a lot of different factors that go through your head, and it's just you learn a lot when you go to college. And I'm not saying it's everybody needs to go to college, right? Everyone's different. I don't know everybody's personalities. I don't know what everybody's mindset is, but I'm a big advocate of going to school, and I think
out on college
sounds like he would like to. I think that if he gets drafted top 10 overall, he's got to go.
It really sounds like when you talk to him that he is like sold, bought in. But everything that I've heard and what I've seen is that it's going to be hard for him to make it here in the sense of that's how good he is, right?
LSU's got
we'll see.
4 of the top 10 high school recruits out of that recruiting class. I would imagine that none of those 4 make it to LSU.
And that's what I think is interesting with the way that Jay Johnson's recruiting. It's obviously he's not doing a bad job of it, but when you start taking these big swings at these guys that you're going up against Major League Baseball.
Yeah, but you got to though.
Schools.
You have to. You have to offer these guys, and you have to take their commitment, and you have to because you just never know. Alex Bregman was supposed to be a first-round pick. He broke his thumb or did something. I forget, a hand or thumb or something in high school, and he fell out of the first round and ended up coming to college. Dylan Cruz put a high price value on himself, which he should have, and teams didn't want to get to that. And he said, if you're not going to get to it, I'm just going to take my name out of the draft. Ended up taking his name out of the draft, came to LSU, right? Like there's been incidents, there's been situations where these guys that shouldn't have been in school ended up coming to school. So that's why you have to offer these guys.
Dylan Cruz?
You just never know.
Said Dylan Cruz?
Yeah, that's what I just said, yeah.
You just never know what can truly happen. Like you said, like he just reclassified. There's 2 years from now until he's draft eligible. That's a lot of time for who knows what to happen. It could be something completely out of his control that lands him here. And then now he does a Dylan Cruz and he really goes off and flourishes.
Right.
And
Aaron Nola turned down a whole bunch of money to come to school.
You just never know.
Made more. Like, it's just...
there's almost more merit to betting on yourself a little bit by going.
Yeah, but there's also stories of guys that turned down money to go to school and then ended up not making any money.
I need it now or...
Right.
That's why the old advice would be, you go through the process, you kind of hear where you should be. All right, cool. I'm setting this number, whatever that number is that you and your people, your team come up with and say this is the number we want, and you truly don't stoop a dollar under it. And
that's very hard to do.
It's very hard to do because they'll kind of get up right towards that line and say, let's see if he'll buy it, and then you never know.
Give you this.
Yeah.
Oh, you want $2 million? What about 1.6? That's only $400,000, but I said 2. All right, what about 1.8? That's as much as we can go. I mean, that's not.
And that's what they'll tell you. That's literally how they'll do it.
And we'll give you a car.
No, they don't.
No, they don't. They won't do anything.
No.
No.
But I hope he shows up.
They basically said that. I hope that 1.8 could buy your own car.
Yeah.
Like they're not going to do that.
I hope he ends up at LSU. If not, I just hope he stays healthy and he does really well the next 2 years, and then hope wherever
it seems like he's got a great support system around him.
Absolutely.
So
If you could guess what state he's from without knowing, what would you have guessed?
He doesn't have a huge.
No, he doesn't have a huge Mississippi accent.
I didn't think so.
I would say honestly,
I thought the South, but I didn't see like it. The accent wasn't super strong.
He reminds me of like not just based off the accent, but just how he acted demeanor wise, like Texas.
Texas?
Yeah.
That's what I kind of thought too.
But we'll see. I mean, it's nice to have him in the recruiting class. I hope he shows up here. But he's a nice kid, and he's very polished for this situation.
He is being groomed to play professional baseball.
Yeah. But we are in the OT, so let's get to the segments.
Are we there already?
Damn. We're in the OT. All right, which one do you want to do first?
That's what the Pats
Well,
wanted.
the one we always do first. Not my fault. Brought to you by dUpMikieMahtook Place.
Game.
I'm about to pull it up for you. Show us what I'm about to tell you. It's 3-3.
Hell yes.
We're going at it right now.
Under.
Well, I know if you were asking about the Pellies.
No.
The Pellies,
They are
Valanciunas is
down
right
4.
now.
Yeah.
Valanciunas has like 30 points.
Well, they're probably losing then.
They're down 4 points.
Yeah.
60 to 56.
High level quarterback play going on right now in this game. Jesus Christ. Okay, go ahead. Not my fault. Brought to you by dUpMikieMahtook Place.
I have a couple.
Okay, I see that. Which one are you gonna pick?
I'm going to do them all. But the first one I will do is just because I fucking love Buffalo
Wild Wings.
Kind of. I mean, they kind of did the same thing. They're trying to create overtime over here. But whenever you see Buffalo and they are absolutely just throwing snowballs during the game, they're trying to impact the game the best that they know how. And they're throwing snowballs from the field at Tyreek Hill.
You mean from the stands?
I really would have liked Tyreek Hill to catch that, though.
You mean from the stands?
What did I say from the
From
field?
the field.
Oh, yeah, from the stands. That's what I'm saying.
Maybe
but
the sideline was thrown out. Who knows?
who knows? He could have been the coach. But I'm just saying, I don't even know. I mean, of course, my fault, not my fault. How do you even police this? Like,
Yeah.
whenever you're playing,
Can't police it. It happens. You just
I mean, they delayed the game because of it.
yeah, I mean, you gotta if unless you catch him throwing it, that's the only way you can do it. But I love it.
That man would be celebrated if he
No
got
doubt. That's
escorted out.
Bill's Mafia, dude. That's what they do. That's what
Yeah,
they do. I love
if
that.
it's not a snowball, it's a dildo.
That
That happened too.
that did
And
happen.
my other,
What if they mix
my
it too?
fault,
It's
not my
frozen.
fault, is Tiger Woods bullying his own child by making him play through injury on something that just, I mean, he limps like his daddy.
Boy, that swing's pure.
Pure.
But
Hey, so apparently he's not even ranked that high in his age group of the 13 to 17 nationally ranked golfers.
Well, he's also just turned 13.
And so apparently he just doesn't win a bunch of tournaments.
he doesn't play a lot of tournaments.
He doesn't.
No, he hangs out with dad, which is what is probably more intimidating than anything. Is that
No, I like that he played through injury. He's teaching him.
No, yeah, well, that's what I'm
He'll
saying.
get it
Because I watched a ton of this. I'm obsessed with Charlie Woods. I'm blessed to have been able to see Tiger in his prime, LeBron in his prime. Now they both have children that see this swing is so good.
Even with a bum ankle, it's just...
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Tiger wouldn't let him run the cart the first day. He was like, "No, you have to learn how to play through pain," and that no other golfer does that. Like only Tiger did that in terms of bro, just let me get in the cart.
Right.
And he's like, "No, you have to be. If you want to be great, this is going to happen." And it's like, not really. You only did this to yourself, kind of. But he's making Charlie learn early that if you want to be as good as I was, there's going to be times whenever you go through your life.
Even if you want to be as good as you can be, not even.
It is a
not
good
even-
life lesson,
Yeah.
but it's just funny to see it played on national television
Right.
when Tiger Woods is
I love it.
Yeah, I do too.
I like it.
I love it.
I don't think there's enough of it these days, but I actually
Exactly.
love. And look, if you know anything about Tiger's upbringing, and whether you like it, dislike it, however you want to look at it, I guarantee you he would attribute a lot of his mental makeup because of what he did as a kid.
Yep.
And how his dad brought him up as a kid. And I'm not saying that's the way you should go about it, but he's obviously taking
worked
some of
for
that in
him.
a bottle and he's applying it to Charlie now.
No doubt.
And my other
Good
one.
ones. Oh, you have a third one?
No, this is just a curtain call.
Okay,
Do you
so
have a curtain call?
we haven't got.
That's why we should go to curtain calls.
Yeah, the curtain call is brought to you by Assured Partners. You're jumping the gun there. Jumping the
It's
gun
Charlie
there.
again.
Oh Jesus Christ! Okay, go ahead. Stay on this
Look at the recoil on this cat. And
curtain call.
brought to you by
Assured Partners.
Assured Partners. Look at the recoil that looks just like Daddy.
Good night.
Love that one.
13 years old.
We think.
That's explosive
No,
for a
he's
13-year-old.
Hey, and the difference in pictures between last year and this year.
I think he's on
Unbelievable.
steroids.
No, he's not.
It's called
His
puberty.
hands are enormous.
That's and don't be surprised. He's wearing the Snoopy hat if we get Snoop Woods. Tiger Woods. He ain't gonna be Charlie for long. About to be Snoopy.
Snoopy.
That's the hat he was wearing. He's gonna get his own branding. Like they're doing it now.
Oh really?
Did y'all see
How do you know that?
They asked him about it.
Did
He
y'all
said
see?
he's Snoop Woods.
Well, yeah, he
No.
was wearing a hat that had Snoopy on it.
He said
and-
it's the one that fits in my closet. I can't say anything
that's
else.
very coy.
But
Yeah.
Justin Thomas asked him. What I read was that Justin Thomas won that hat in a tournament and gave it to Tiger because he beat Tiger, and gave it to Charlie.
I love that.
Because they're really good friends, so it was just a little messing with him. So he gave it to Charlie, and it was
I
just.
love that. I love that. Good ones. Good job.
I like it.
All right, what you got?
I would do a lot for that swing.
Yeah.
My curtain
You got-
call
yep.
is to, it's a pretty obvious one, but it's to what I saw Sunday morning. Not a huge soccer fan. Don't watch a lot of soccer. But if you missed out on the World Cup final, you missed out on something electric. It was unbelievable. Storyline of it was great. The stars showed up. And good for Messi. He was able to actually
Top 2 players in the world.
Yeah, top 2 players in the world who are actually also teammates.
Right.
When they're not playing
How
international
are they
ball.
not in the highest? How are they not in the Premier League?
I don't know.
I don't understand that. Go ahead.
What are you talking about?
But
Messi and.
I mean, they've played in the Premier League before.
Yeah, but they're not in there. The league's not. They're not in the Premier. They're on the same club team, but they're not in the Premier League.
He's doing the Beckham. He's coming to Miami.
No, I know that, but not. I mean, before that, he didn't. He was playing in Europe. Him and they were not. They were on the same team, and they weren't in the Premier League, which is the highest league in soccer in Europe. But go ahead. Finish.
But that's my curtain calls to.
It was great.
Not only to Messi, but literally the entire situation. It was.
I mean,
it was what you would. It was what you would
PKs was
dream
awesome.
of when you turn on a sporting event to watch it and be like, "Wow, that's what I want to see." What draw me into the sport?
Yeah,
If you watch that game live, it's hard to not be drawn into.
no doubt.
Y'all probably don't know who this is, but it's Chris Bumstead, C-Bum. Won his 4th straight Mr. Olympia this weekend. I'm
Shout
a
out.
big C-Bum fan. Y'all know
You're a
who it is.
powerlifter. You like the powerlifting?
No, I just like the gym, and so when I was transitioning from baseball training to regular gym dude, I watched a lot of his YouTube and started following him, and he's won 4 straight Mr. Olympias.
Big bum, huh?
A lot of steroids.
Yeah.
Man, my
This
curtain
is-
call.
Is it
What?
not that?
I mean, Jesus Christ.
What a move.
My curtain call is to the wacky,
Tobacco.
crazy NFL season. Right, this Sunday or this weekend, they had 3 like absolutely outrageous finishes to the games. You had Minnesota, who was down 33-0 at halftime, ended up coming back and winning, which is unbelievable. You had
Did
the
you see
Patriots.
Did you see what the coach said?
What?
Patrick Peterson gave a halftime speech.
Oh yeah, he said all he needs is 5 touchdowns.
He's like, we're gonna get 5 stops. Y'all just gotta get 5 touchdowns.
Love that.
Love that.
Love that. And they did it.
Pat's still in it.
Oh yeah, he's still having a good year. He's
Because
doing well.
there was just a time whenever he was kind of like they were talking about moving him to safety.
Well, it's
Right.
because Steve Keim hadn't called him back yet.
But you had that game. You had the the Buffalo Miami game was great, but it wasn't like a crazy game. You had the Jacksonville Cowboys game. Love seeing the Cowboys get beat. They lost on a pick 6 in overtime. And you had the
Patriots.
Patriots game, which was
The weirdest ending I've
Unbelievable.
probably ever see.
right. It's been a crazy season, but it's been an entertaining season. And I'm also in the semifinals in fantasy football because of the crazy season, which is great. So that's my curtain call. It's the NFL.
Oh yeah, you were already on the couch.
Yeah. We had
I love
Great show today, boys. We
We
went a
had to
little
create-
over. We went a lot over, actually. 8:15 almost. That you love that. I know that you do. We will be back Wednesday. I will be hosting the Jordy Collada's show in the morning, and then we'll have our show from 6 to 8 p.m. as usual time. There's going to be a lot of recruiting talk. Early signing period starts on Wednesday. We will have a lot of talk that morning before it really gets kicked off. We'll have some live reactions on some of the commitments that happen as they come in. And then, Mik'd Up will be 6 to 8, and we'll have a little post recruiting action. How did the class turn out? What is there still to be filled with the late recruiting signing
Desmond
day?
Ricks doesn't sign until Friday, so
Right.
we'll be talking about that.
All right, so we'll have predictions and all of that stuff. So possibly another interview on Wednesday. If that happens, we will.
Oh, definitely have Shay already booked.
Yeah, no, that the
From
other
6 to
one,
8.
the other one that I'm talking about.
That'll be. I'll got you.
Yeah, we will let you know if that happens. Thanks for tuning in. We love you guys. Like, subscribe, share it, tell a friend. You're watching Mik'd Up. We're brought to you by Sterling Automotive. If you don't want to watch us or listen to us, or if you don't want to watch us, you can listen to
you.
us on our
Yeah,
podcast.
say screw you.
See you on Wednesday. Please bundle up. Stay warm. Peace.
See y'all.
And you know what, Jared? And you know what, as Mark.